Chapter 24:16. Gong Sun. He knew a thing or two about Longao's character. Brother Long, what should we do now? Gong Sun. He was very clear about the current situation. It was all because of Bai Jing's deterrence. Otherwise, the other cosmic empires might not have chosen to join forces against Longao. Nothing must happen to Longao. For the primal chaos steely, not to mention falling out with Bai Jing, even if he had to fight Bai Jing to the death, he would not hesitate. Whether Gong Sun he was sincerely helping him or not, the current situation was very unfavorable for him. No matter what. If he had the help of Gong Sun he and the Third Cosmic Empire, the situation would be a little better. However, the 8 cosmic empires joining forces was indeed a troublesome matter. Brother Gong Sun, if you can deter the other 7 cosmic empires. I believe that with you, the other 7 cosmic empires might not join forces with the First Cosmic Empire. Even the First Cosmic Empire could not do anything. If it was him, he would not be able to do it. What he could not do did not mean that Gong Sun he could not do it. Gong Sun his strength was there. Even if he was not as strong as Bai Jing, he was not far off. What did this mean? As long as Gong Sun he gave the order, the other cosmic empires would not dare to join forces with the First Cosmic Empire due to Gong Sun his strength. How could Gong Sun he not know Longao's intention? If it was someone else, Gong Sun he would not agree. Only Longao. Because of the primal chaos steely, Gong Sun he did not hesitate at all. He said, Brother Long, no problem. I will do it immediately. Gong Sun he was also very fast. He did as he said. A short while later, the entire vast starry sky was spreading the news. The ancestor of the Third Cosmic Empire, Gong Sun he, had informed the other 7 cosmic empires that if anyone dared to join forces with the First Cosmic Empire, the Third Cosmic Empire would flatten that empire. If Gong Sun he and Bai Jing did not come, the 9 cosmic empires' strength would be about the same. It would not be easy to destroy each other. However, the situation now was completely different. Whether it was Bai Jing or Gong Sun he, their strength was there for all to see. Under their deterrence, no one dared to go against Bai Jing and Gong Sun he. There was only one outcome for anyone who dared to go against them, and that was to be destroyed by the two without any chance of survival. This was the power of a half-step starry sky ruler. The first starry sky empire also received the news. Bai Jing, in particular, was shocked. Gong Sun his actions showed that he really wanted to shed all pretenses of cordiality with her. In the main hall, Bai Jing's face was extremely gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. Bai Hua wanted to speak a few times, but in the end, he held himself back. At this moment, it was clear that the old master was infuriated to the extreme. Offending the old master at this moment was akin to asking for trouble. The 3 starry sky eagles and Bai Hua looked at each other and saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. The 4 of them didn't expect Gong Sun he to make such a move. Was it worth it for Gong Sun he to do this for a Longao? If it were them, they would definitely not do so. After an unknown period of time, Bai Jing said coldly, Gong Sun he doesn't know what's good for him. I can't let him live. Bai Jing was helpless to the extreme as well. If it were anyone else, he could have killed them in a matter of minutes. But Gong Sun he was the only one whose strength was similar to his. It was almost impossible for him to kill Gong Sun he. If Gong Sun his third secret state could be destroyed, then even if Gong Sun he was still a half-step starry sky ruler, he wouldn't be able to fight against him. The 4 of them still did not dare to speak. A battle of the old master's level was not something they could interfere with. Neither did they dare to offend Gong Sun he. If Gong Sun he wanted to kill them, it would be a piece of cake. What do the 4 of you think? What did the 4 of them think? The 3 starry sky eagles were helpless. Under such circumstances, it wasn't appropriate for them to speak. However, Bai Hua's situation was different. Bai Hua knew what the 3 starry sky eagles were thinking. No matter how unwilling he was in his heart, he still braced himself and said, Old master, according to my guess, Gong Sun he has been keeping a low profile for so many years. But all of a sudden, he spread the news that he's going to help Longao. There must be something fishy going on. Fishy. Continue. Bai Jing's mind seemed to be in a mess. He didn't seem like Bai Jing at all. The onlooker sees more clearly than the person involved. Old Master, if I'm not mistaken, Longao should have already appeared in the Third Starry Sky Empire. Continue. Continue. Bai Hua was helpless. He didn't know what was going on with the Old Master, but he still said, Old Master, we all know that Gongsun he is going to help Longao not out of kindness, but because of the Chaos Tablet. For 18 years, Longao seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. Gongsun he has remained neutral. Bai Hua didn't continue after saying this, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Bai Jing was only temporarily confused. After a short period of calming down, Bai Jing had a rough idea of what was going on. He didn't have the slightest doubt. He felt that Bai Hua's guess was correct. If Longao hadn't suddenly appeared, Gongsun he wouldn't have done this even if he was beaten to death. He had dealt with Gongsun he for so many years, and he knew Gongsun he too well. If it weren't for the Chaos Tablet, Gongsun he definitely wouldn't have helped Longao. If that was the case, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. After all, they had been looking for Longao for 18 years without success. Now, Longao had finally been found. Bai Jing had the same intention as Gongsun he. He didn't care about Longao's life or death. He only cared about one thing, and that was the Chaos Tablet. If he wanted to break through the half-star Sky Dominator level and become a Star Dominator level, he couldn't rely on a mystic realm alone. There was only one way, and that was to find the Chaos Tablet and refine it. However, it was almost impossible to find the Chaos Tablet on his own. Only Longao could. Otherwise, Gongsun he wouldn't have helped Longao so much. It was obvious what was going on. Bai Hua, what do you think the Old Master should do? Old Master, Longao must be in the Third Cosmic Kingdom. We don't need to fight with the Third Cosmic Kingdom. We only need to do one thing, and that is to do everything we can to find Longao and deal with Longao. As long as the Old Master can find the Chaos Tablet, both Longao and Gongsun he won't be a threat. Chapter 24:17. Lock on to Longao. It was easy to think about but difficult to do. If it was easy to lock on to Longao, they wouldn't have to wait so many years. Countless people wanted to deal with Longao but no one was able to kill Longao. This was enough to explain the problem. Bai Jing knew the situation was impatient but the longer it dragged on, the worse it would be for him. He had to end the battle quickly. He had to lock on to Longao as soon as possible. If Longao helped Gongsun he get the Primal Chaos Tablet, everything would be too late. Bai Hua, what should we do now? Bai Hua shrugged helplessly. Old Ancestor, I don't know what to do now. Bai Hua thought that if the Old Ancestor used the Secret Realm, he would definitely be able to deal with Longao. But the result? Bai Hua never thought that someone would come out of nowhere and stop the Old Ancestor from dealing with Longao. If it was someone else, the Old Ancestor wouldn't have any fear. Only the other 8 half-step star sky rulers. Gongsun he also had his own secrets. If Gongsun he insisted on helping Longao, things would be very troublesome. Although the first secret realm was slightly stronger than the third secret realm, it was almost impossible for the first secret realm to suppress the third secret realm. This was the reason why the Old Ancestor was the most depressed. If it wasn't for this, the Old Ancestor would have already made a move. How could Bai Jing not know what Bai Hua meant? This was also the reason why he was the most depressed. If he wanted to deal with Longao, he had to deal with Gongsun he first. However, Gongsun he was a half-step star sky ruler with a secret realm. It was almost impossible for him to deal with Gongsun he. It was precisely because Longao had Gongsun his help that he was fearless. What should he do? He couldn't think of a solution no matter how much he thought about it. As a half-step star sky ruler with the help of a secret realm, he had no way to deal with a small star sky legend. If this matter spread, it would be embarrassing. Bai Hua and Bai Jing's guesses were not entirely correct. At the very least, Longao was no longer in the so-called Third Starry Sky Empire. Longao had already promised Gongsun he that he would help him find the Primal Chaos Tablet. However, he didn't say when he would start. After all, There were still many things to be done, especially in the First Starry Sky Empire. If you don't go to him, he will definitely come to you. As long as they did not deal with White Crystal and the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, it would always be a big problem. It was a very helpless matter. Longao didn't know what to do either. If he were to rely on his own strength alone, he and the entire Soaring Dragon Empire would not be a match for Bai Jing and the number 1 Starry Sky Empire. There was no doubt about it. Longao was well aware of his own strength. He was also extremely depressed about his own talent and strength. He originally thought that, according to his talent, he should have been able to smoothly break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm from the Starry Sky Legend Realm in 18 years. However, he did not expect that after 18 years, there was still no breakthrough. A low-level plain. There was a huge, solitary mountain peak. At the peak of the mountain, Longao sat quietly at the peak of the mountain, facing the wind. His mind was thinking of all sorts of ways to deal with the number 1 Starry Sky Empire and Bai Jing. However, no matter how he thought about it, he still couldn't come up with any ideas. No matter what, the number 1 Starry Sky Empire and Bai Jing were too strong to the point of being abnormal. In the vast Starry Sky, other than the 12 rulers of Starry Sky, Bai Jing was the true number 1. Even if Gong Sun he were to compare with Bai Jing, in terms of strength, Gong Sun he wouldn't be a match for Bai Jing. This was Bai Jing's true strength. At this moment, a figure flashed quickly. Longao wasn't surprised at all because the person who came was none other than Long Ming, the so-called ruler of Starry Sky. Longao, why are you looking for me? Long Ming had been in closed-door cultivation. If not for Longao looking for him, he wouldn't have cared about anyone. Because in the current situation, there was nothing more important than refining the Primal Chaos Tablet. Longao and Long Ming's relationship was always there. As long as Long Ming didn't really refine the Primal Chaos Tablet, the two could send each other messages and inform each other. Long Ming was very curious. He didn't know why Longao suddenly looked for him. It was very depressing because he knew Longao's character too well. No matter what happened, based on their current situation, he believed that Longao wouldn't come looking for him. So what was it? Long Ming was very curious. Long Ming, I want to make a deal with you. I don't know if you're willing. A deal? Long Ming was very vigilant. Others might not know Longao, but he was no stranger to Longao. If Longao didn't have some ability, he wouldn't have grown to this point. Tell me about it. Long Ming did not agree, nor did he refuse, because he still did not know what the so-called deal Longao was talking about was. If it was beneficial to him, then there was no problem at all. If it was not beneficial to him, then sorry, he would not agree even if he was beaten to death. How could Longao not know what Long Ming was thinking in his heart? Now Longao really hoped that Long Ming wasn't the so-called ruler of time and space. He had lost a good brother for nothing. But things had already come to this, and it wasn't something he could change. Longao cursed himself in his heart, then quickly calmed down and said, "If you help me destroy the First Starry Sky Empire and White Crystal, then I'll help you control the Primal Chaos Tablet." Long Ming was shocked because destroying White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire would be a matter of minutes for him in the future. As long as he could refine the Primal Chaos Tablet and become the ruler of the Starry Sky, it would happen sooner or later. What truly shocked Long Ming was that Longao could help him control the Primal Chaos energy in the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Of course, he knew what the Primal Chaos energy in the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet meant. If he could truly control the Primal Chaos Tablet, then no matter who it was, no one would be a match for him. Then, in the entire Starry Sky, he would be the true number 1. It would be a lie to say that he didn't want to control the Primal Chaos Tablet. But Long Ming didn't believe Longao. There were 12 rulers of the Starry Sky, and none of them could control the Primal Chaos Tablet. Even the Oracle couldn't do it. Longao still hadn't devoured the Primal Chaos Tablet. If he said that he could help him control the Primal Chaos Tablet, no one would believe it. It was complete nonsense. Chapter 24:18. How can I believe you? Long Ming was on high alert. If Long Ming believed Longao so easily, he wouldn't be Long Ming. Longao knew what Long Ming was thinking, of course. Long Ming, I'm sure you know what kind of person I am. I never boast. You just need to tell me if you agree or not. I don't want to say or listen to anything else. Long Ming knew Longao's personality all too well. Longao wouldn't speak casually if he wasn't confident. If it were anything else, Long Ming would have chosen to believe him. But when it came to the chaos stele, Long Ming would never believe him. That was too ridiculous. Someone who couldn't even refine a chaos stele was boasting shamelessly here. If he chose to believe him, he'd be a fool. He refused without hesitation. Longao, first of all, I don't believe you. Second, I can't kill Bai Jing with my current strength. This was the truth. If Long Ming could successfully refine the chaos stele and become a ruler of the stars, killing Bai Jing and destroying the #1 cosmic empire would be a matter of minutes. But now, the situation was completely different. Long Ming had yet to successfully refine the primal chaos tablet and become a starry sky ruler. It was almost impossible for him to do so with his current strength. Long Ming was well aware of this fact. Long Ming seemed to want to say something else, but Longao vanished. He really didn't give Long Ming any chance to speak. Long Ming was completely dumbfounded. Just now, he just wanted to test Longao, to see if Longao could help him control the primal chaos power of the primal chaos stone tablet. But the result? He'd gone too far this time. Before he could finish his test, Longao had vanished without a trace. Long Ming was a little helpless, but more than that, he was furious. He'd long forgotten Longao's kindness. If not for Longao's help, he'd be dead already. How would he have had the chance to refine the chaos stele? Longao, come out. We can have a good chat. Just as Long Ming finished speaking, Longao's figure appeared once again. With the primal chaos temple present, Longao could ignore anyone. Not to mention Long Ming, even Master God Diviner could be ignored. This was the strength of the primal chaos palace. He was very disgusted. Longao said impatiently, Long Ming, it's best if you don't play games with me. I can tell you clearly that these are of no use to me. If you don't want to, I'm sure the other rulers will. Long Ming's face was very gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. If it was in the past, this would be the case. But now, he was the ruler of time and space. Even if he hadn't truly refined the chaos tablet, his status was still there. No one would dare to do such a thing to him. Except for Longao. However, Long Ming could not do anything about it. This was because Longao had too many secrets. Even he did not know much about them back then, especially the starry sky divine artifact that Longao possessed. No matter how angry he was. In the end, Long Ming suppressed his anger and said, Longao, I can promise you that as long as you help me obtain the chaos power in the chaos tablet, I will help you deal with White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire. Long Ming did not care about the life and death of White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire. What he wanted was the chaos power in the chaos tablet. He knew very well what it meant to be able to control the chaos power in the chaos tablet. Long Ming, it's decided. As long as you can help me destroy White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire, I will immediately help you obtain the chaos power in the chaos tablet. Before Long Ming could speak, Longao continued. Long Ming, I will wait for your good news. Just as he finished speaking, Longao's figure disappeared without a trace. This time, Longao did not appear. Long Ming was very distressed. With his current strength, it was almost impossible to destroy White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire. However, if he could obtain the chaos power in the chaos tablet, everything would be worth it. However, Long Ming was not a fool. He could not completely believe Longao's words. What should he do? The First Starry Sky Empire. Bai Jing was still very helpless because he could not think of any way to deal with Longao. In terms of strength, Longao was not a concern. However, Longao had a powerful cosmic artifact. Even he could not lock onto Longao's position. If he had not experienced it himself, he would not have believed that such a thing could happen. If he could obtain the Starry Sky Divine tool from Longao's hands, Then not to mention the 12 starry sky dominators, he believed that he would be invincible in the vast starry sky. If he could resist the 12 starry sky dominators, then he could run amok in the entire vast starry sky. However, if he did not kill Longao, how could he obtain the cosmic artifact? Longao was not a fool. As long as he hid in the cosmic artifact, Bai Jing would not be able to do anything. He was very helpless. Who is it? Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared in front of him, Bai Jing was shocked to the extreme. Others might not know Long Ming, but how could he not know? The 9 half-step rulers of the universe had met the 12 rulers of the universe. Moreover, Long Ming did not hide his aura. Greetings, ruler of time and starry sky. He bowed respectfully. No matter how strong Bai Jing was, whether or not he was the ancestor of the first starry sky empire, he was still not enough to face a true ruler of the universe. Unless Bai Jing could devour the chaos tablet and refine it to become a ruler of the universe, then he would have the capital. However, was that possible? Long Ming's face was very cold. I came to find you this time because I have an agreement with Longao. Longao? The ruler of time and starry sky had a relationship with Longao? This was the first time Bai Jing had heard of this. If this was true, then this matter was really serious. The oracle was not willing to help him, and the ruler of time and starry sky had a relationship with Longao. It was hard to imagine what kind of person Longao was. How could he be related to 2 rulers of the universe? If Bai Jing knew that Longao was not only related to the oracle and Long Ming, but also other rulers of the universe, who knew what Bai Jing would think? Please speak clearly, Your Excellency. Bai Jing was almost certain that the ruler of time and starry sky had not come to kill him. Otherwise, the other party would not talk nonsense with him. However, he did not relax in the slightest because he still could not be sure why the ruler of time and starry sky had come this time. Bai Jing was ready. As long as the ruler of time and starry sky wanted to deal with him, he would not hesitate to hide in the first secret realm. Chapter 24:19. Longao asked me to kill you. Bai Jing wasn't worried at all when Long Ming said that. It was still the same sentence. If the ruler of time and starry sky really wanted to kill him, he wouldn't have wasted so much time talking to him. After all, the ruler of time and starry sky could kill him in a matter of minutes. Senior, you won't do that, right? Long Ming smiled. Of course he wouldn't do that, because there was no doubt that he still didn't know what Longao was thinking. If Longao could really control the chaos power in the Chaos Stone Tablet, he wouldn't have refined it. Kill with a borrowed knife. Longao definitely wanted to use his power to destroy the first Starry Sky Empire and Bai Jing. He would really be a fool if he were to really make a move. After thinking about it, Long Ming decided to beat him at his own game. That was exactly why. Long Ming didn't hide anything. He recounted everything that had happened before, including Longao's plan to kill someone with a borrowed knife. He also told Long Ming all of his methods. After listening to everything, Bai Jing was pleasantly surprised. It seemed that the ruler of time and starry sky wasn't Longao's friend, but Longao's enemy. If that was the case, then things would be much easier. Although he couldn't lock onto Longao's position, it didn't mean that Long Ming couldn't lock onto Longao's position. Longao's strength wasn't terrifying, but the truly terrifying thing was the starry sky spirit artifact in Longao's hands. Lord Ruler, I don't have any problems with that, but the biggest problem now isn't Longao's strength, but Longao's starry sky artifact. It's very difficult for us to lock onto his position. Long Ming nodded. Of course, he knew what Bai Jing was worried about. Longao's starry sky artifact was difficult to lock onto, let alone him. Bai Jing, use your first secret realm to trap Longao. Lord Ruler, to be honest, Longao now has Gong Sun his support. If I use the first secret realm, Gong Sun he will definitely use the third secret realm. By then, we won't be able to trap Longao. This was what Bai Jing was most depressed about. For the primal Chaos Stone Tablet, Gong Sun he was willing to shed all pretense of cordiality with him and help Longao. He couldn't do anything to Gong Sun he. However, Long Ming smiled and said, leave Gong Sun he to me. We'll deal with Longao together later. Yes. Third Starry Sky Empire. Gongsun he had been waiting for Longao to return so that he could help him search for the Chaos Tablets. However, he didn't rush him at all. No matter what, Longao had his own personal matters to attend to. After Longao was done, it wouldn't be too late to help him. After waiting for so many years, waiting a little longer was nothing. Who is it? Gongsun he, I'm the ruler of time and space. Gongsun he was completely shocked when he saw the ruler of time and space suddenly appear in front of him. He didn't fear the other 8 half-step rulers of the starry sky at all, but he was afraid of the 12 rulers of the starry sky. Gongsun he knew very well that any one of the 12 rulers of the starry sky could easily kill him. Why had the ruler of time and space suddenly come looking for him? Lord Ruler, I don't know why you're looking for me. Please tell me. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Long Ming said indifferently, Gongsun he, from now on, you can no longer help Longao, especially when Bai Jing will act against Longao later. You can't do anything either. Otherwise, at this point, Long Ming did not continue, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Gongsun he was shocked. According to the agreement of the 12 rulers of the starry sky, they wouldn't casually intervene in the affairs of the starry sky. The 12 rulers of the starry sky basically didn't appear for so many years. In that case, why was the ruler of time and space stopping him from helping Longao? Did the ruler of time and space have a grudge against Longao? If that was the case, then things were really troublesome. Lord Ruler, I want to know why you're doing this. If it had been anyone else, they wouldn't have dared to ask such a question. However, Gongsun he was ultimately a half-step ruler of the starry sky. His strength was clear for all to see. Even the 12 rulers of the starry sky wouldn't act casually and fall out with a half-step ruler of the starry sky. Even if the power of the 9 great mystic realms wasn't as strong as the primal chaos tablet, it was still very difficult for the 12 rulers of the starry sky to destroy the 9 great mystic realms. Otherwise, the 12 rulers of the starry sky wouldn't have allowed the 9 half-step rulers of the starry sky to live for so many years. Long Ming sneered and said, You don't have the right to know. Let me give you a piece of advice. If you want to devour the primal chaos tablet, be obedient and I won't mistreat you in the future. If it had been anyone else, even if it were the other 8 half-step rulers of the starry sky, Gongsun he would have chosen to ignore them. But the 12 rulers of the starry sky were the only ones Gongsun he was wary of. It wasn't worth it to lose his life for a Longao and a primal chaos tablet. If he had already devoured the primal chaos tablet, then things would be different. Long Ming didn't urge him at all. He just watched coldly and waited for the other party's answer. Time passed by bit by bit. After an unknown amount of time, Gongsun he sighed deeply and said, I won't tell anyone about this. As if afraid that Long Ming wouldn't believe him, Gongsun he agreed and immediately swore a blood oath. A wise man submits to circumstances. I won't forget you. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Long Ming's figure quickly left with a loud laugh. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. Only Gongsun he was left in the hall. His face was filled with helplessness as he let out a deep sigh. Until now, he had not expected that the ruler of time and starry sky would interfere in this matter. If he was not mistaken, there must be some unspeakable secret between Longao and the ruler of time and starry sky. It was a bit unkind. He had chosen to ally with Longao, but now he had to give up because of the deterrence of the ruler of time and starry sky. However, Gongsun he had no choice. The ruler of time and starry sky was too strong. It was difficult to deal with such a powerful ruler of the starry sky with his own strength. Longao, I'm really sorry. After thinking about it, Gongsun he finally chose to give up on Longao. If Longao could help him obtain the primal chaos tablet, then he could take the risk. But now, Longao probably didn't even have a 30% chance. If he still insisted on helping Longao, then it wasn't worth it. Chapter 2420. In a short span of a few dozen days, Long Ming had already sent back news that the First Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing had been destroyed. Was this true? Longao didn't quite believe it. But a short while later, news of the First Cosmic Empire spread throughout the vast universe. Both Bai Jing and the First Cosmic Empire had been destroyed by a mysterious expert. Not a single one was left. The universe was shaken by the news. If it was really the First Cosmic Empire, then so be it. A half-step cosmic ruler could definitely destroy the First Cosmic Empire. But now, even Bai Jing had fallen. What had happened? Bai Jing was a half-step cosmic ruler, the strongest person under the 12 cosmic rulers. Apart from the 12 cosmic rulers, no one in the entire universe could kill Bai Jing. Even the other 8 half-step cosmic rulers couldn't do it. Who was it? Thinking about it, it seemed that only the 12 cosmic rulers could kill Bai Jing. Could it be that the person who killed Bai Jing was the legendary cosmic ruler? If so, then things were really troublesome. On a mid-level plane. Longao, I've done my job. According to our agreement, shouldn't you fulfill it now? Longao certainly didn't believe Long Ming's words. If Long Ming at his peak could destroy the First Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing, then he could believe it. But now, things were a little strange. In any case, Long Ming hadn't refined the Chaos Tablet and become a cosmic ruler. Even killing a peak cosmic immortal wouldn't be easy, let alone dealing with Bai Jing. In that case, it was still unknown whether the news from the vast universe was true or false. However, Longao didn't point it out. He just smiled and said, Long Ming, I'll make a decision after I confirm whether the First Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing have fallen. What do you think? No problem, I'll wait for your good news. As soon as he finished speaking, Long Ming got up and left quickly. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. Longao's expression was grave because he didn't know whether the First Cosmic Empire and Long Ming had been destroyed or not. Whether Long Ming's words were true or false. Whether it was true or not, Longao was ready to make a trip to the First Cosmic Empire to see for himself. First Starry Sky Empire. Today, the #1 Starry Sky Empire was filled with a lifeless atmosphere. There was not a single person. Following the fall of the First Starry Sky Empire, no one dared to step into the First Realm because no one knew what had happened. Longao's figure suddenly appeared. Standing outside the first plane, Longao confirmed again and again. As for whether or not there was an aura inside the first plane, he couldn't sense it for now. Due to the seal, there was no way for him to sense anything. If it hadn't been for the seal, Longao wouldn't have been so sure. However, he was now certain that the first plane in front of him contained the aura of countless people. In other words, the #1 Starry Sky Empire was not destroyed, and Bai Jing was not dead. Long Ming was just fooling him. It was easy to guess the reason. If Long Ming had been at his peak, regardless of whether his promise was true or false, Long Ming would not have hesitated to take action. This was because Long Ming did not care about the life and death of Bai Jing and the #1 Cosmic Empire at all, especially for the chaotic force within the Chaos Stone Tablet. Let alone destroying the #1 Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing, Long Ming would have done the same even if he had to destroy the 9 Cosmic Empires. Only now, the situation was different. Long Ming had not truly refined the tablet and became a cosmic ruler. It was impossible for him to destroy the #1 Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing. The only explanation. That was Long Ming could not kill Bai Jing and destroy the #1 Cosmic Empire. He was only relying on his deterrence to deter Bai Jing. Longao had already guessed that Long Ming had not only not taken action against Bai Jing, but had instead teamed up with Bai Jing to deal with him. Long Ming, Bai Jing, I'm already here. Show yourselves. What answered Longao was a fierce attack. In the next second, Bai Jing led 4 peak cosmic undying experts, the 3 Space Eagles and Bai Hua, and began to attack Longao frantically. There was no surprise. Longao had already guessed that Bai Jing had not fallen and was instead retreating. Let alone 1 against 4, even in a 1 against 1 situation, it would be hard for him to deal with 5 of them. There was no need to clash head-on. Longao turned and left. His speed was extremely fast. He did not know why, but the space around him had been completely sealed. He could definitely enter the Primal Chaos Palace. However, if that was the case, the primal chaos palace would definitely be exposed. No matter what happened, Longao was not willing to reveal anything about the primal chaos palace. You want to leave? Such a rare opportunity, how could Bai Jing and the rest give it up so easily? The 5 of them also flew to their limits and chased after Longao. The speed of both parties was extremely fast. Longao was very clear in his heart that if Bai Jing used the first secret realm, he would only have 2 choices. The first choice was to not be afraid of exposing the Primal Chaos Palace and forcefully enter the Primal Chaos Palace. The second choice was to borrow Gongsun his strength to deter Bai Jing and the First Cosmic Empire. Longao would definitely choose Gongsun He. He had already formed an alliance with Gongsun He, so why not use Gongsun his power? He was not stupid enough to take on the number 1 Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing alone. Longao and Bai Jing's speed was very fast. In just an hour, they had already crossed the distance from the First Starry Sky Empire to the Third Starry Sky Empire. From the beginning to the end, Long Ming did not appear. However, Longao had already asserted that Long Ming and Bai Jing must have joined hands to kill him or trap him. At that time, both of them would be able to take advantage of the situation. Gongsun He. Longao's voice rumbled, but what was the result? Longao could not step into the third plane at all. As for the reason, he did not know at all. However, intuition told Longao that Gongsun He had deliberately sealed the third plane so that he could not step into it. Could it be that Gongsun He was also involved in this matter? In just an instant, Longao's face turned gloomy. Bai Jing was quickly catching up. If he continued to hesitate, he would definitely be in big trouble. Without any other choice, Longao could only quickly enter the Primal Chaos Palace and disappear without a trace. Gone. When Bai Jing and the others arrived, they could only see a small black seal. However, Longao's figure had already disappeared. Immediately after, Long Ming also appeared and forcefully sealed the small black seal in front of him. With a very surprised expression, he said, "Such a powerful Starry Sky divine tool seems to be similar to your secret realm." Secret realm? The small black seal was similar to a secret realm? Chapter 24-21. Bai Jing and the others were shocked to hear the ruler of time and Starry Sky's words. Bai Jing, in particular, was even more shocked. Of course, Bai Jing knew what his secret realm meant. If that was the case, it was no wonder that Longao could use this Starry Sky artifact to avoid being locked on by him. However, the ruler of time and Starry Sky had locked on to Longao's black seal. This time, Longao would not be able to escape. But what was the result? The small black seal suddenly disappeared without a trace. What was going on? Bai Jing and the others were completely shocked by the sudden disappearance of the black seal. They all looked on in disbelief. Lord Ruler, what's going on? Bai Jing was very curious. He did not know how the black seal could disappear when the ruler of time and Starry Sky had locked onto it. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Was this true? Although Bai Jing was very confident in his secret realm, he was not sure if his secret realm could be locked on to by the ruler of Starry Sky. It was still unknown whether his secret realm could be locked on to by the ruler of Starry Sky. Long Ming was also very angry. He felt even more helpless. Longao's Starry Sky artifact should be similar to your secret realm. He was overjoyed. According to the ruler of time and Starry Sky, if he had a secret realm, wouldn't he be able to ignore the ruler of Starry Sky? However, Bai Jing still did not dare to act recklessly. He knew very well what the ruler of Starry Sky's strength meant. If he was unlucky and was killed by the ruler of Starry Sky, he would not even have the chance to regret it. Lord Ruler, what should we do now? Longao has this Starry Sky divine tool. According to my guess, if there is no accident, this Starry Sky divine tool can only hide, but it cannot move. Cannot move? What did that mean? After thinking about it, Bai Jing instantly understood what it meant. In other words, Longao was still here. As long as he and the others locked onto this place, Longao would not be able to leave. On the plane, Gongsun Ao's face was very solemn as he said, "Old ancestor, Longao is in big trouble outside. Should we lend a hand? Gongsun Ao was very curious, wondering what was going on with the old ancestor. Previously, he had even made an agreement with Longao. As long as the old ancestor helped Longao resist the first cosmic empire, then Longao would believe that the old ancestor was looking for the primal chaos tablet. Why did the old ancestor suddenly wash his hands of the matter? Could there be something fishy about this? Even now, Gongsun Ao still didn't know about the ruler of time and starry sky. If he did, he wouldn't have reacted this way. However, Gongsun he had sworn a blood oath not to mention anything about the ruler of time and starry sky. He knew very well what the ruler of time and starry sky meant. Once provoked, the consequences would be unimaginable. For Longao, was it worth it? For a primal chaos stone tablet that he had no confidence in, was it worth it? Without a doubt, it was definitely not worth it. From now on, we are no longer friends with Longao. If he dares to come looking for trouble, kill him without mercy. Gongsun he wasn't sure if Longao would come, because even a fool would know that this matter had something to do with him. But whether or not Longao was able to avoid this calamity was still unknown. If the old ancestor didn't want to say, then what had happened? The more the old ancestor didn't want to say, the more curious Gongsun Ao became. However, Gongsun Ao knew the old ancestor's temper. If the old ancestor wanted to say something, he didn't need to ask. He believed that the old ancestor would tell him. If the old ancestor didn't want to say, then sorry, but no matter how much he asked, the old ancestor wouldn't say half a word. Since that was the case, why should he ask for trouble? Old ancestor, what should we do now? Longao, Bai Jing, and the others were still outside. No one knew what would happen. The most important thing was whether this matter would implicate the Third Starry Sky Empire. No one knew. How could Gongsun he not know what Gongsun Ao was thinking? After thinking about it, Gongsun he said, no matter what happens outside, we shouldn't ask about it. Should we meddle? Ah! Was the old ancestor really afraid of the First Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing? It seemed a bit ridiculous. Whether it was in the past or now, the old ancestor had never been afraid of Bai Jing and the First Cosmic Empire. He certainly wouldn't believe that this was true. As for the reason, if the old ancestor didn't say it, only a ghost would know. Gongsun Ao didn't dare to ask more and directly ordered that no one from the Third Cosmic Empire should leave the Third Cosmic Empire without permission. Anyone who disobeyed would be killed without mercy. Although the Third Cosmic Empire had been sealed, the outside world was very clear. Longao was besieged by the First Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing, but the old ancestor didn't do anything. No one knew why, but everyone was very curious about the old ancestor's intentions. No one dared to disobey the old ancestor's order, and no one dared to leave the Third Cosmic Empire. The news quickly spread, and everyone who received the news was shocked. No one knew why the Third Cosmic Empire and Longao would suddenly turn against each other. Under normal circumstances, Longao would have been chased to the Third Cosmic Empire's doorstep. Gongsun he would definitely help. Otherwise, the two wouldn't have formed an alliance. But what was the result? Not only did Gongsun he not help Longao, but he also directly sealed the Third Cosmic Empire, directly blocking Longao from entering the Third Cosmic Empire. Everyone was talking about it, and no one knew what had happened between the two. However, the only thing that was certain was that after this incident, the alliance between Longao and Gongsun he would definitely be completely broken. Whether or not the two of them would turn against each other in the future, or even fight, was still a mystery. Longao was already a celebrity in the vast starry sky, because a person who could shake the 9 great cosmic empires was indeed a miracle. Because of this, everyone was very concerned about the movements of Longao and the First Cosmic Empire. They wanted to see if Longao could successfully escape this disaster. Outside the third plane. Of course, Long Ming wouldn't show up casually, but he had already discussed with Bai Jing. Since things had already happened, they had to lock onto Longao no matter what and kill Longao. Long Ming didn't know what was going on in his heart. Not only was he not grateful, but he also wanted to kill Longao. Sometimes, even Long Ming didn't know what was going on. Maybe he didn't want others to know about his identity and things. As long as he could kill Longao and the others, no one would know about it. Lord Ruler, we can't go on like this. We can't lock onto this place forever. Chapter 24-22. Bai Jing was helpless. Longao's Starry Sky Divine tool seemed a bit too abnormal. Not only could it avoid being locked on by him, but it could also avoid being locked on by the Starry Sky Ruler. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. No wonder Longao was so fearless. It turned out that he had something to rely on. Long Ming's heart was also furious. Not to mention Longao's strength, just the fact that Longao had a Starry Sky Divine tool made it difficult for him to lock on to the opponent's position. If his cultivation could be restored to the Starry Sky Ruler, then with the power of time, he could completely deal with Longao, even if Longao had such a heaven-defying Starry Sky Divine tool. But now, he hadn't really refined the Chaos Stone Tablet, and becoming a Starry Sky Ruler was still far away. Not only that, Long Ming didn't dare to casually make a move, because he couldn't reveal that he hadn't recovered his Starry Sky Ruler, especially if Bai Jing knew. If it was leaked, there was no doubt that Bai Jing would definitely deal with him. Long Ming knew that with his current strength, he was definitely not Bai Jing's opponent. If Bai Jing used the secret realm to help snatch his Chaos Stone Tablet, then things would be troublesome. But as long as he didn't make a move, Bai Jing wouldn't know that he hadn't refined the Chaos Stone Tablet. Wait. In the current situation, there seemed to be no other good way except to wait. Whether it was Bai Jing or Long Ming, they had completely sealed off the surroundings. This in itself was extremely rude for the Third Starry Sky Empire. Just this point alone was enough for the Third Starry Sky Empire to fall out with the First Starry Sky Empire. But the result? The Third Starry Sky Empire didn't make the slightest move, as if nothing had happened. It didn't seem like the Third Starry Sky Empire's character. If there wasn't something fishy, who would believe it? The other 7 Starry Sky Empires were just watching from the sidelines. Of course, they would not intervene casually. Inside the Chaos Palace, Longao wasn't angry at all, because in this dog-eat-dog world, there were no eternal enemies, and no eternal friends. Although Gong Sun He and he had formed an alliance, it was natural for Gong Sun He to betray him for some benefits. What was the reason? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. Longao was almost certain that Gong Sun He must have done this for some reason. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to do this. Could it be because of Long Ming? Other than this reason, Longao really couldn't think of any other reason why Gong Sun He would choose to give up on him. It was fine to give up, but would Gong Sun He give up on the primal Chaos Stone Tablet? It was definitely impossible. Longao had no doubt about it. With Gong Sun His strength, apart from the 12 Starry Sky Rulers, Gong Sun He could ignore anyone, including the other 8 half-step Starry Sky Rulers, including Bai Jing. Combining the above guesses, Longao was almost certain that the reason Gong Sun He chose to reject him was definitely because of Long Ming. Long Ming had yet to refine the primal Chaos Stone Tablet and become a ruler of the universe. No one knew about this, so both Bai Jing and Gong Sun He were very wary of Long Ming. Even if a half-step Starry Sky Ruler was so powerful, in front of a Starry Sky Ruler, it was nothing. He snorted coldly. Longao had already thought of a way to deal with Long Ming and Bai Jing. Countless Starry Sky Corps slaves rushed out in a frenzy, and quickly spread out in all directions. What was going on? Seeing the sudden appearance of countless Starry Sky Corps slaves, whether it was Bai Jing, the 3 Starry Sky Eagles, or Bai Hua, all of them were very curious. They didn't know what Longao wanted to do. However, the Starry Sky Corps slaves didn't attack anyone. Under such circumstances, no one was willing to look for trouble. After all, their only target was Longao. Several people stared at the Starry Sky Corps slaves rushing out in all directions. No one knew if Longao was mixed in with the army of Starry Sky Corps slaves. As the saying goes, caution is the parent of safety. No, Longao wasn't among the Starry Sky Corps slaves. This made many people curious. They thought that Longao had suddenly released countless Starry Sky Corps slaves and wanted to take advantage of them to leave this place. If Longao didn't want to take advantage of the Starry Sky Corps slaves to leave this place, then why did he suddenly release so many Starry Sky Corps slaves? They couldn't figure it out. They felt a little helpless, but Bai Jing and the others still didn't dare to hesitate. They didn't know if Longao was deliberately doing this and waited for them to relax their vigilance and leave. Then, everything would be too late. Bai Jing still didn't show up, but his aura shrouded the surroundings. Although he couldn't lock on to the Starry Sky Divine tool, he could sense Longao's aura. As long as Longao was mixed in with these so-called Starry Sky Corps slaves, he would definitely be able to sense him. Long Ming was still very confident about this. After dozens of minutes, all the Starry Sky Corps slaves had disappeared, but they still couldn't sense Longao's aura. However, Bai Jing and the others still didn't relax because everyone was almost certain that Longao's sudden release of Starry Sky Corps slaves was definitely not that simple. There must be something fishy about it. In less than half an hour, a piece of news spread throughout the vast starry sky. As soon as this news came out, the vast starry sky trembled as if there was a huge earthquake. The news was that many of the 12 Starry Sky rulers had gone through countless reincarnations and still hadn't truly refined the Primal Chaos Tablet. Among them, the Oracle, Xiling, the Immortal Tyrant Body, and the others had truly refined it. Everyone knew very well what it meant to not have refined the Primal Chaos Tablet. The Starry Sky ruler hadn't refined the Primal Chaos Tablet, so he was no different from an ordinary Starry Sky cultivator. When Bai Jing and Gong Sun heard the news, they were shocked because the two of them had already become half-step Starry Sky rulers. If they could kill the Starry Sky ruler and obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet, then they could definitely replace him. They didn't know who had spread the news and whether it was true or not. If it was true, then everything would be good and they could give it a try. If it was false, then they might not even be able to survive, let alone kill the Starry Sky ruler and obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet. The others certainly wouldn't dare to take the risk. Even if they wanted to take the risk, they would first have to find the location of the Starry Sky ruler. All the Starry Sky rulers came and went without a trace. However, the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, the peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm, including the half-step Starry Sky rulers, were already tempted because they had already reached the peak of martial arts. If they wanted to go one step further and become invincible, there was only one way, and that was to devour the Primal Chaos Tablet. Chapter 24-23. The Martial Heaven Continent. The Outer Sea, the Crystal Palace. Yi Gudu said angrily, "Father, I've just received news from the vast universe. Among the 12 rulers of the universe, aside from you and Violet Spirit, none of them have truly refined the Primal Chaos Tablet." Master God Diviner didn't show the slightest anger. What did that mean? Father, according to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, this matter must have been spread by Longao. He waved his hand. Master God Diviner stopped Yi Gudu from continuing. I already told you that you shouldn't interfere in the affairs of the universe. All you need to do is focus on refining the Primal Chaos Tablets. He didn't show the slightest anger. What did his father mean? His father's attitude caused Yi Gudu to be a little confused. Shrugging helplessly, Yi Gudu said, "Father, I know what I should do." Master God Diviner smiled. Bai Jing and Longao are working together to deal with Longao. With his current strength, he can't contend against the two of them. Aside from this method, it seems that Longao won't be able to get out of this predicament. So that was the case. Yi Gudu naturally hoped that Longao would die. However, for some reason, his father was always protecting Longao. He didn't know what to do. However, he definitely wouldn't go against his father's wishes. How could Master God Diviner not know what his son was thinking? Gudu, as long as Longao doesn't devour the Primal Chaos Tablets, we can control them. Hearing his father's words, Yi Gudu felt even better. Father, since that's the case, why did you let Longao devour the Primal Chaos Tablets when the Primal Chaos Planes descended? Yi Gudu really couldn't understand this. If Longao really did refine the primal chaos tablets and become the ruler of the universe, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Master God Diviner smiled. If Longao really did refine the primal chaos tablets, I wouldn't have given him the chance. This was something Master God Diviner had decided on long ago. Although he had already deduced that Longao was a variable, as long as he could control this variable, then Longao could do whatever he wanted. If this variable was not within his control, then there was only one outcome, and that was to kill without mercy. Furthermore, Master God Diviner was confident that, as long as Longao didn't refine the primal chaos tablet and become a ruler of space, he could kill Longao whenever he wanted. Since things were already like this, Yi Dugu did not say anything more. The news that Longao spread out was really a little too shocking in the vast starry sky. The one who was most shocked was definitely Bai Jing. As the number one person below the cosmic ruler and the leader of the 9 half-step cosmic rulers, Bai Jing couldn't wait to devour the primal chaos stone tablet. Wanting to find a primal chaos stone tablet in the boundless starry sky was like searching for a needle in the ocean, and it was practically an impossible task. He had already felt despair. But now, Bai Jing seemed to have found an opportunity. If Long Ming really hadn't refined the chaos tablet and become a ruler of space, then this was indeed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for her. Bai Jing was completely confident. If the cosmic ruler of time was at her peak, she wouldn't have the slightest bit of confidence. But if the rumors were true and Long Ming hadn't refined the tablet and become a ruler of space, then she was confident that she could kill the cosmic ruler of time and seize the tablet. Was this risk worth taking? Bai Jing knew very well that there was only a 50% chance that this rumor was true. If her judgment was wrong, then but she didn't even know if she could survive, much less obtain the tablet. Attack? Or not? For a moment, Bai Jing didn't know what to do. Looking at the cosmic ruler of time in front of her, Bai Jing still couldn't decide whether she should attack or not. If she was unlucky, then she would be completely finished. As for the rumors, Bai Jing was almost certain that Longao had spread them in order to incite internal strife between her and the cosmic ruler of time. But this news was a bit too shocking for her. She really didn't want to miss this opportunity. Lord Ruler, there's something I'd like to ask. I hope you can answer me truthfully. Sure. Bai Jing smiled and said, Lord Ruler, there's a rumor going around that the 12 rulers of the universe, except for Master God Diviner and Master Violet Spirit, haven't refined the Chaos Tablet a second time and become a ruler of the universe again after several reincarnations. Is that true? Bai Jing was going all out. If Long Ming really did refine the tablet and become a ruler of space, then he would immediately hide in a secret land. As for whether or not the first secret land could block the cosmic ruler of time, that was up to fate. But Bai Jing still wanted to try and see how lucky she was. If she was lucky and Long Ming didn't refine the tablet and become a ruler of space, then she could kill Long Ming, steal the tablet, refine it, and become a new ruler of space. How could Long Ming not know what Bai Jing was thinking? This was what he was most worried about. He was furious. Long Ming wasn't stupid, and he knew who had spread the rumor. If he wasn't mistaken, it had to be Longao. What a despicable Longao. He wanted to use this to get rid of her. She wanted to drive a wedge between her and Bai Jing. Then Longao would be able to leave without a hitch. Long Ming looked indifferent. He said coldly, Bai Jing, if you want to know, I can tell you a way. Please tell me, Lord Ruler. Attack me and see if you can withstand 3 of my attacks. The calmer Long Ming looked, the more Bai Jing felt unsure. Was Longao's rumor fake? That wasn't likely. Longao wouldn't dare use such a rumor. But Long Ming's reaction made Bai Jing very wary. She didn't know how lucky she was. She would be lying if she said she wasn't afraid of death. Should he make a move? Seeing that Bai Jing wasn't going to attack, Long Ming smiled and said, Bai Jing, this rumor must have been spread by Longao. As for Longao's intentions, I don't need to say more. I'm sure you know better than I do. If you and I become enemies, only one person will benefit, and that is Longao. It won't do you any good. Bai Jing nodded helplessly. In the end, she chose to give up. She didn't want to take the risk. If the first secret land couldn't withstand the attack, she wouldn't even have the chance to regret. Chapter 24-24. Bai Jing didn't dare to attack, but that didn't mean others didn't either. There were definitely people who weren't afraid of death in front of such a temptation. For the primal chaos tablet, even the risk was worth it. Everyone knew that as long as they could devour the tablet, they could become a ruler of the universe and become the true ruler of the universe. In the vast universe, there were a total of 12 rulers. They were the dominator of the 5-element starry sky, the dominator of the devouring starry sky, the dominator of the lightning starry sky, the dominator of the space starry sky, the dominator of the time starry sky, the dominator of the destruction starry sky, the dominator of the reincarnation starry sky, the dominator of the slaughter starry sky, the dominator of the divination starry sky, the dominator of the sword intent starry sky, the dominator of the immortal tyrant body starry sky, and the dominator of the darkness starry sky. According to rumors, of the 12 rulers, apart from the divine divination ruler and the sword intent ruler, none of the other rulers had successfully refined the tablet a second time. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Indeed, many people who weren't afraid of death began to frantically search for traces of the other 10 rulers. The temptation of the primal chaos tablet was too great. In the vast universe, the winds and clouds changed. Bai Jing and Long Ming were already estranged. Both of them had ulterior motives and wanted to use the other. However, Bai Jing was too unstable. Long Ming didn't know if Bai Jing would take the risk to attack him. If he was at his peak, he could ignore everyone, including Bai Jing. But now, the situation was completely different. He hadn't refined the tablet yet. If Bai Jing really attacked now, he would be in a very passive position. It was better to be safe than sorry. If it was anything else, perhaps Bai Jing wouldn't take the risk. However, the temptation of the primal chaos tablet was too great. Not to mention Bai Jing, if it was him, he would definitely do the same. Choose to give up. He had already shed all pretense of cordiality with Longao. This was the best time to get rid of Longao. If he missed this chance, who knew how long he would have to wait for another one? He wasn't willing. He was really unwilling. However, Long Ming knew very well that no matter how unwilling he was, it was useless. After thinking about it, Long Ming still wasn't willing to take the risk. He wasn't sure if Bai Jing would really attack him. If Bai Jing really attacked him, then he would be in big trouble. In the end, Long Ming still chose to leave. Even if he was extremely unwilling, he could only choose to leave. He had to kill Longao, but not now. An hour later, Bai Jing already knew that Long Ming had left. She almost went berserk. She was extremely regretful. Even if he was an idiot, he still knew that the news that Longao spread out was true. The so-called ruler of the starry skies of time had gone through countless samsara cycles without ever refining a chaos tablet a second time. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity was missed just like that. Regret. He was extremely regretful. If he had ignored the danger and insisted on taking action, he would have successfully killed the ruler of time and space and obtained the primal chaos tablet. Bai Jing stood there quietly, unable to come back to her senses. Bai Jing knew very well that if she missed this opportunity, it would be impossible to find another time ruler in the future. Trying to find Long Ming in this vast sea of people was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. After missing this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Bai Jing did not continue to stay. In the third starry sky empire, Gong Sun, his expression changed again and again. Of course, he knew that the news must have come from Longao, but whether it was true or not, he really did not know. However, as he watched Bai Jing leave, Gong Sun, his intuition told him that Longao's news was probably true. Right at that moment, a figure suddenly flashed in the Great Hall. It was none other than Longao. This was because when Bai Jing left, the seal on the third plane had been lifted. It was because of this that Longao could enter the third starry sky empire without a hitch. Longao. Gong Sun, he stood up when he saw Longao suddenly appear in front of him. He looked at Longao in shock. It was hard to imagine that Longao could survive the pursuit of Bai Jing and the others. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, it would have been hard to believe. Longao did not speak. He just stood there with a smile on his face. At that moment, Gongsun he waved his hand and said, "Brother Long, I have my reasons for this. I hope you can understand." Gongsun Ao was very curious when he heard the old ancestor's words. He had already guessed that there must be something fishy about the old ancestor's actions, but he still did not know the real reason. Gongsun Ao did not speak. He just sat down and listened. Gongsun I don't blame you. I believe you've already guessed that the news I spread is true. Bai Jing missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's really sad. Ah! Of course, Gongsun Ao knew what the news was. If it was true, then not only had Bai Jing missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but he and the old ancestor had also missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Because if they had helped Longao, wouldn't it be? Gongsun Ao also found it hard to believe that the starry sky ruler would appear. No wonder Longao spread the news. Gongsun his expression was very ugly. He never thought that things would come to this. He had been chasing after the Chaos Stone Tablet for so long. He had a chance to obtain it, but he didn't expect to miss it. Regret. But there was no medicine for regret in this world. Even if there were countless regrets in his heart, what had already happened. Gongsun he sighed deeply and said helplessly, "Brother Long, I'm not the only one who would have made the same choice. With my strength, I cannot fight against the Starry Sky Ruler. I didn't know that the Starry Sky Ruler was just a paper tiger. She was just trying to scare me. I hope you can help me find the Starry Sky Ruler." When the time comes, before Gongsun he could finish speaking, Longao waved his hand and said with a smile, "Gongsun thank you for your help before. I also treat you as a friend, so I'm prepared to do my best to help you find the Primal Chaos Tablet after this matter is settled. However, what you did was not something a friend would do. If I were to continue helping you, do you think that would be possible?" Of course it was impossible. Let alone Longao, if it were him, he wouldn't do such a thing. But for the Chaos Stone Tablet, Gongsun he wasn't willing to give up so easily. He said, "Brother Long, listen to me. From now on, I, Gongsun can swear a blood oath. You and I are allies, and we will never retreat. Even if we encounter another Starry Sky Ruler, I will still stand by your side." Would Longao believe him? Chapter 24-25. Longao smiled. Actually, Gongsun he felt very guilty. Because of what happened before, he was the one who let Longao down. If it was anything else, Gongsun he would definitely choose to give it up. Only the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Gongsun he was very clear that with his current strength, there was only one way to become a space ruler. That was to devour the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. He had already missed a rare opportunity. If Longao chose not to help him, then it would be very difficult for him to obtain the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. He couldn't give up. No matter what happened, he couldn't give up. Brother Long sighing deeply, Gongsun he still said, "Brother Long, can't you give me a chance?" Gongsun Ao was very shocked. Was this still the fearless old ancestor? If Longao was 100% sure of finding the tablet, then so be it. But now, the old ancestor kept begging Longao. If it was anyone else, they would have agreed long ago. Only Longao, this thing who didn't know what was good for him. All along. Gongsun Ao suppressed the anger in his heart. He had to admit that Longao was indeed a talent, and a genius that didn't appear in 10,000 years. But so what? Even if Longao broke through the pinnacle of martial Dao, he would only reach the peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm at most, which was similar to his strength. Without the secret realm, Longao would never become a half-step Starry Sky ruler. Not only that, Gongsun Ao always had a doubt. If Longao could find the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, he would have refined it long ago and become a Star Sky ruler. Why wait until now? The only explanation was that Longao couldn't find the tablet. But for some reason, the old ancestor trusted Longao so much that Gongsun Ao couldn't do anything. Longao, don't be too arrogant. Gongsun Ao couldn't take it anymore. His face was filled with anger. If it wasn't for the old ancestor, Gongsun Ao would have attacked long ago. Why would he wait until now? But even so, Gongsun Ao endured. He was afraid he wouldn't be able to take it. He had seen arrogant people before, but he had never seen such an arrogant person. Long Ao didn't put him or the old ancestor in his eyes at all. This was unbearable. The secret cave could be tolerated, but not the chrysanthemum. Gongsun he didn't say anything, because he also felt that Long Ao had gone a little too far. Given his status, a dignified half-step Starry Sky ruler, he had to be so humble. If it weren't for the primal chaos tablet, he definitely wouldn't have done this. But what was the result? Not only did Long Ao not compromise in the slightest, but he also had an arrogant attitude. It wasn't just Gongsun Ao. Even Gongsun he was suppressing the anger in his heart. He knew very well that if Long Ao died, he wouldn't be able to obtain the chaos tablet. Am I arrogant? Long Ao, the forefather is cooperating with you because he thinks highly of you. In the vast starry sky, there are countless people who want to form an alliance with the forefather. Long Ao couldn't bear to listen any longer. He waved his hand impatiently. Long Ao said unhappily, Gongsun Ao, I'm not forcing you to cooperate with me. You can go find someone else. What do you say? Anger. Endless anger. But Gongsun Ao endured it, because without the old ancestor saying anything, he didn't dare act casually. Gongsun Ao knew that Long Ao's life meant nothing to the old ancestor. The only thing the old ancestor wanted was the chaos tablet. The old ancestor had already decided that Long Ao could help him obtain the chaos tablet. There was nothing he could do. Long Ao. Long Ao didn't give Gongsun Ao a chance to speak. He said impatiently, Gongsun Ao, Gongsun he, our alliance ends here. Long Ao turned and left. But what was the result? You want to leave? Before Gongsun Ao could finish speaking, Long Ao's figure suddenly disappeared. Forefather, are we just going to endure like this? Long Ao has been arrogant once, so he can be arrogant a second time and a third time. He already knows that we won't dare act. How could Gongsun he not know what Gongsun Ao meant? Sighing heavily, Gongsun he said helplessly, Long Ao has a cosmic artifact. Even the ruler of space and time can't lock onto Long Ao's position, much less us half-step rulers. If he wasn't so fearless, do you think he'd dare come? He'd been confused by his anger, but now that he thought about it, that was indeed the case. Long Ao's strength wasn't much, but the cosmic artifact Long Ao had was too heaven-defying. Even the ruler of space couldn't lock onto it. If that was the case, Long Ao could ignore anyone. No wonder he was so arrogant. He couldn't figure out what kind of cosmic artifact Long Ao had. If he had such a cosmic artifact, he could also run amok in the vast universe and ignore anyone. Thinking about how heaven-defying Long Ao's cosmic artifact was, Gongsun he felt helpless. He finally understood why the forefather hadn't been willing to act. The forefather's meaning was very simple. In the end, the forefather wasn't completely confident he could kill Long Ao. If he couldn't trap him, then the primal chaos tablet would be completely ruined. If he wasn't confident, he wouldn't act. Forefather, what should we do now? Gongsun Ao also felt helpless. He didn't know what to do. Long Ao was just a starry sky legend. If Long Ao's cultivation base could break through the limit of starry sky immortal, then as long as the old ancestor wasn't by his side, how could he resist Long Ao? Even if they were on the same level, Gongsun Ao did not have full confidence in defeating Long Ao. That was because he knew very well that Long Ao was just a grade 8 starry sky cultivator at that time, yet he could walk step by step until now. If he did not have any heaven-defying qualities, it was almost impossible. He would be lying if he said he wasn't worried. As the saying went, if you cut the grass without removing the roots, it would grow again when the spring breeze blew. Long Ao's talent and potential were there. Who knew when Long Ao would break through the limit of cosmic immortal? If he didn't kill Long Ao, then he wouldn't be at ease. Gongsun he also said helplessly, Long Ao is indeed troublesome, but we don't need to act. According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, whether it's the ruler of time or space or Bai Jing, I believe they won't let this matter go. I just want the primal chaos tablet. I don't care about Longao's life or death. As long as he could get the primal chaos tablet and truly refine it, then everything would be worth it. This was what Gong Sun he meant. Among the 9 half-step cosmic rulers, Gong Sun he was the most sinister and cunning, and the most secretive. Chapter 24-26. What should he do? Longao had such a heaven-defying starry sky divine weapon. Even the starry sky ruler could not lock onto him, let alone him. It would be useless even if he fell out with him. He left the third starry sky empire. Longao did not swagger around. Since the news had spread that many starry sky rulers had not refined the chaos tablet, he believed that the vast universe would not be peaceful anymore. Longao did not want to do this unless he had no other choice. However, he could take advantage of this opportunity to stabilize the empire for a few years. If it were anyone else who dared to spread such news, they would not live to see the next day. After all, this was provoking the starry sky ruler. In the vast universe, the starry sky ruler was the most powerful existence. Who would be so free as to court death? Just as Longao was about to return to the empire and break through to the starry sky immortal realm, suddenly, the situation changed. Longao suddenly felt a splitting headache in his head, as if it was about to explode. What the hell happened? Longao didn't know. He didn't know why such a situation would happen out of nowhere. Covering his head with both hands, Longao found a plane and began to roll on the ground. It was so painful that he even forgot to enter the Chaos Palace. Ah! He let out a long scream. In a short while, the surroundings were surrounded by people. They did not know what had happened and why this person would do this. Among the hundreds of people, there were inevitably people with evil intentions. However, before these people could make a move, Longao, who was still in pain, looked around coldly. Without a word, before the people around him could react, Longao's chaos axe appeared in his hand. Holding the chaos axe with both hands, he swung it in all directions. Ah! Seeing the young man, who they did not know whether he was dead or alive, suddenly attack them, everyone was completely shocked. Not to mention Longao's strength, his aura alone was enough to sweep away everything. The axe of primal chaos cleaved down without giving anyone a chance to react. With a loud boom, the hundreds of people in the surrounding area vanished into thin air. Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Legend realm. Not to mention ordinary Starry Sky cultivators, even Starry Sky immortals might not be Longao's opponent. This was Longao. He was incomparably powerful, able to kill a universe undying. Longao didn't hesitate in the slightest because the situation just now was too dangerous. The slightest carelessness would have caused him to fall into eternal damnation. It was precisely because of this. Longao did not hesitate to attack. Taking advantage of the fact that he had nothing to do, Longao turned around and returned to the Primal Chaos Palace. At this moment, Longao finally heaved a sigh of relief. There was no need to elaborate on the Primal Chaos Palace's power. Not even a star ruler could lock onto the Primal Chaos Palace's location, let alone an ordinary person. Within the Primal Chaos Palace. Until now, Longao was still in a state of shock because he didn't know why his head hurt so much. For a moment, it was as if his primordial spirit had left his body. 9 revolutions chaos formula? He didn't know why, but his intuition told Longao that the splitting headache was definitely related to the 9 revolution chaos mantra. Now, Longao's 9 revolution chaos mantra had already reached the 6th revolution, which was the so-called Starry Sky Mastery. As for the 7th, 8th, and even 9th revolution, who knows when he would be able to break through. However, Longao already knew what was going on. If there were no accidents, the 9 revolution chaos mantra would start to refine his primordial spirit. As for what it meant, he still didn't know. However, Longao knew that this would definitely be beneficial to him. He immediately sat on the ground and began to cultivate the 9 revolution chaos mantra. After a full 10 days, Longao found that in just 10 days, His primordial spirit was continuously refined by the 9-revolution chaos mantra, becoming hundreds of times stronger. What kind of concept was this? In other words, today, Longao was still a starry sky legend. However, his primordial spirit was strong enough to contend against a peak starry sky immortal. In other words, even a peak starry sky immortal wouldn't be able to suppress Longao with just his primordial spirit. Longao was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. If this person's luck came, he wouldn't be able to stop it. Longao was looking forward to the last 3 revolutions of the 9-revolution chaos mantra. What kind of power would it have? The first 6 revolutions of the 9-revolution chaos mantra, each realm was a qualitative leap, especially the 6th revolution, Starry Sky Mastery. Not only could it shatter the starry sky, but it could also compress the cracks in the starry sky. What kind of concept was this? Longao was full of confidence that the Starry Sky Mastery's power was something that even the 12 starry sky rulers couldn't do, let alone ordinary starry sky cultivators. It was hard to imagine what kind of power the highest realm of the 9-revolution chaos mantra, the 9th revolution, would have. Longao sighed helplessly. He had tried countless times, but each time ended in failure. Not to mention the 8th and 9th revolutions, just the 7th revolution alone couldn't be broken through. Longao knew that the first 6 revolutions could be broken through by going through life and death situations. However, the last 3 revolutions might not be broken through even if one went through life and death situations. If that was the case, things would be troublesome. It seemed that one couldn't break through the 7th revolution of the 9-revolution chaos mantra by relying on hard work. The most important thing was luck. If one was lucky, one might be able to break through by drinking water. If one was unlucky, not to mention drinking water, one might not be able to break through even after tens of thousands of years. Longao was also depressed to the extreme. The tempering of the primordial spirit this time was really too useful for Longao. After leaving the primal chaos palace, Longao found that this plane seemed a little strange. This was because for so many years, such a thing had never happened to him. Why would he trigger the 9-revolution chaos mantra when he came to this plane and start tempering his essence spirit? Was there something fishy about this plane? Longao sensed that this plane didn't seem to have any level. In other words, this plane was neither a low-level plane nor a mid-level plane, let alone a high-level plane. If he hadn't experienced it himself, he would have found it hard to believe that such a plane existed in the vast starry sky. However, the starry sky was boundless, so strange things weren't surprising. However, Longao didn't leave. Instead, he went deep into the plane to see what was going on. Many experts. Longao sensed that there were many experts in this plane. Among them, there were several peak starry sky immortal experts, dozens of starry sky immortal experts, and many starry sky legends. It was a little strange that there were so many starry sky experts in one plane and they were all living in harmony. There were only so many peak starry sky immortal experts in the entire vast starry sky. Chapter 24-27. Longao was careful because he didn't know what was going on with this plane. His intuition told him that this plane was definitely not simple. It was a very secretive plane. If he didn't rely on his innate ability to sense, he believed that he wouldn't be able to sense that there were actually so many powerhouses in this plane. Hiding one's aura. Longao had already decided to explore what was going on with this plane. Since this plane could trigger the 9-revolution chaos mantra, then Longao didn't have the slightest hesitation and immediately ran the 9-revolution chaos mantra to see if he could find any clues. If he didn't use the 9-revolution chaos mantra, nothing would happen. Longao was very shocked to find that as long as he ran the 9-revolution chaos mantra in his body, his head would hurt very badly. The headache was splitting, as if it was about to explode. The more it was like this, the more Longao thought that there was something wrong with this plane. Otherwise, why would he feel a splitting headache whenever he used the 9-revolution chaos mantra? To say that there was nothing fishy, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. The pain was too great, even Longao couldn't bear it. In desperation, Longao could only temporarily not use the 9-revolution chaos mantra. What the hell was going on? He couldn't figure it out no matter how he thought about it. Almost without guessing, Longao already knew that the 9-revolution chaos mantra he had was absolutely heaven-defying. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to live until now. For so many years, his 9-revolution chaos mantra had never had such a thing happen. This was the first time. Longao couldn't figure out what was going on with this plane. Why would he feel a splitting headache whenever he used the 9-revolution chaos mantra? Unable to find the reason, Longao was like a headless fly, not knowing where to go at all. This plane was very big. Even Longao couldn't sense how big this plane was. Very helpless. More than that, he was depressed. Without a choice, Longao could only continue forward. He didn't know why, but he kept feeling that something was wrong. If he didn't find the reason, who knew what would happen in the future? If he didn't settle this matter, he would definitely not leave. That was it. Longao carried endless doubts in his heart as he slowly walked forward. Wherever he went, he could not casually circulate the 9-revolution chaotic technique. Longao was confident that as long as he forcefully circulated the 9-revolution chaos mantra, he would definitely be able to find the secret. But what was the result? If this continued, who knew what would happen? Longao did not dare to take the risk, nor did he dare to gamble. He walked aimlessly. After walking for an unknown period of time, Longao began to feel a little impatient. If this situation continued, he believed that even after tens of thousands of years, he might not be able to find the secret, let alone now. In desperation, Longao could only continue to use the 9-revolution chaos mantra. Just as he circulated the 9-revolution primal chaos mantra, he felt waves of pain in his mind. It was as if an entire mountain was pressing down on him. He gritted his teeth and endured the pain. He absolutely couldn't give up. Otherwise, when would he know what was going on? Longao gritted his teeth and endured it, but for some reason, Longao felt more and more pain in his head. If this continued, he believed that in a few minutes, he would directly faint. What kind of concept was this? Give up. If he chose to give up at this time, then all his previous efforts would be wasted. Persist. But in the end, Longao still didn't persist because he didn't know when he would faint. There were too many experts in this mysterious plane. If he fainted, he wouldn't even know how he died. Peak Starry Sky Immortal? At this time, Longao suddenly sensed a very powerful aura. If there was no accident, this person must be a Peak Starry Sky Immortal. Without using the 9-revolution chaos mantra, it was impossible to find the secret of this mysterious plane by relying on his own strength. Now there was only one way, and that was to find someone to ask what was going on. Who are you? Seeing Longao suddenly appear in front of him, Yulong was very surprised. Especially when he sensed the strength of the other party, he was even more shocked. The other party was only a starry sky legend, yet he could come here without anyone noticing. This in itself explained everything. If the other party had attacked just now, it would have been really difficult for him to deal with. Longao. How should I address you? Longao was very famous outside. It could be said that there was no one who didn't know him. And for so many years, no one dared to shake the status of the 9 great starry sky empires. Longao could be said to be the first in history. However, this Peak Starry Sky Immortal definitely didn't know Longao's origin. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such an expression on his face. Yulong. Longao had never heard of this name, but he wasn't surprised at all. In the vast starry sky, apart from the 9 great starry sky empires, there were also many Peak Starry Sky Immortal realm rogue cultivators. It was natural that he didn't know. Longao said, "Brother Yulong, I came here mainly because I suddenly sensed something strange when I passed by this plane. So I came to have a look. Is there anything fishy about this plane?" To be honest, Longao knew very well that if he beat around the bush, not only would Longao not tell him, but Longao might also be vigilant. At that time, it wouldn't be worth it if they became enemies. But even so, Yulong was more surprised than vigilant. He said, "There's no harm in telling you. Many people know about this secret. I believe you can sense my presence, and you can also sense the presence of others. Yes. Longao didn't hide this at all. In addition to sensing Yulong's presence, he could also sense the presence of others. It was just that he chose Yulong in the end. Countless years ago, us so-called old guys suddenly sensed something strange about this plane. So we all entered it. After so many years of exploration, we gradually discovered that there is indeed something strange about this plane. If it were someone else, Yulong wouldn't have told him. However, the other party's strength was obvious. Since he dared to find him, it meant that he had nothing to fear. Besides, this secret wasn't a secret in this plane. Even if Yulong didn't tell him, Yulong believed that Yulong would find out about it through others. Instead of that, Yulong might as well make more friends. Having more friends was better than having more enemies. I wonder what's so strange about this plane. Chapter 24-28. I don't know. Don't know? Longao didn't quite believe it. If they didn't know, why would Yulong and the others stay here? Could it be that they were here to enjoy the scenery? Of course, Yulong could guess what Longao was thinking. He shrugged his shoulders helplessly and said, Longao, to tell you the truth, when all of us stepped into this plane that year, we only sensed that there was a mysterious power in this plane. It was of great help to our cultivation. So that was it. Longao already knew what Yulong meant. It seemed that not only Yulong, but also the others in the mysterious plane didn't know what was going on. The mysterious power was also the mysterious power of his 9-revolution primal chaos mantra. The reason why Longao stayed behind was most importantly for this mysterious power. Thank you. Since you've sensed this mysterious power, why don't you stay? Although we still can't pinpoint its exact location, I know a place where it's abundant. In that case, I won't be polite. Not only Yulong, but the others had also found a suitable place to cultivate. Otherwise, why would Yulong and the others be reluctant to leave after so many years? How powerful was the mysterious power? Before entering the mysterious plane, Yulong and the others were only Starry Sky Legends or Starry Sky Immortals. If they cultivated normally, who knew how long it would take for them to break through the limit of Starry Sky Immortals? But in the mysterious plane, this time was greatly shortened. This was the real reason why they didn't choose to leave even if they broke through the limit of Starry Sky Immortals. Although they had broken through the limit of Starry Sky Immortals, it wasn't the true peak of the martial path. There was still the half-step Starry Sky Ruler. As for the Starry Sky Ruler, no one dared to dream of it. Because everyone knew that there was only one way to reach the Starry Sky Ruler realm, and that was to devour the Primal Chaos Tablets. As for the half-step Starry Sky Ruler realm, it was a different story. Although the 9 half-step Starry Sky Rulers had broken through by devouring the 9 great secret realms, no one knew if they would have a chance to do so if they stayed in the mysterious plane. What if there was a chance? Along the way, Longao and Yulong had become friends. The two found that their personalities were very compatible. In a huge cave. Longao, this is the cave that I discovered. If we cultivate here, it will bring us indescribable benefits. He nodded. In fact, there was no need for Yulong to say anything. Longao had already sensed the difference in this cave. This mysterious power was very strange. If he stayed in the cave to cultivate, it would indeed bring indescribable benefits to his cultivation. Yulong, this cave alone is far from enough. I believe you have already guessed that this mysterious power is extremely powerful. If we can find the source of this power, at this point, Longao did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Yulong certainly knew what Longao meant. If he could find the source of this power, it would be of great help to his cultivation. He might even be able to break through to the half-step Starry Sky Ruler realm. However, Yulong wasn't surprised at all. Instead, he said helplessly, Longao, you've only just stepped into this mysterious plane. Many of us have been here for countless years, but we still haven't succeeded in finding the mysterious source of power. If they could find it earlier, they wouldn't have waited until now. This was also the most depressing thing for Yulong regarding this point. How could Longao not know? He didn't continue to dwell on this issue. Facts spoke louder than words. It was useless to say more nonsense. You Long, then I'll start cultivating. Okay, you stay here and cultivate. I'll leave for a few months. You Long didn't say what he was going to do, and Longao didn't ask. Because he knew very well that if Yu Long wanted to say, he didn't need to ask. He believed that Yu Long would tell him. If Yu Long didn't want to say, then even if he asked, Yu Long wouldn't say a word. Since that was the case, why bother asking for trouble? Okay. After watching Yu Long leave, Longao began to carefully sense the cave around him. This mysterious power shouldn't be chaos force. As for why it could trigger his 9-revolution chaos mantra, it was still unknown. Longao didn't need to circulate the 9-revolution chaos mantra. He was sure that if he forced it, he would definitely have a splitting headache. No one knew what would happen then. As for the source of power, it was definitely not nearby. According to Yu Long, there were many caves like this in the mysterious plane. In this case, if the source of power was nearby, then didn't it mean that there were many sources of power in the mysterious plane? It was completely nonsense. As for where the source of power was in the plane, Longao certainly didn't know. However, things had already come to this point. If he couldn't find the source of power, he wouldn't give up. Longao sat on the ground and began to cultivate. He didn't know if he didn't cultivate, but when he started cultivating, he felt helpless. Longao found that this mysterious power not only couldn't help him break through quickly, but also hindered him. What was going on? He felt a little depressed. He thought that by cultivating in this cave, he could use this mysterious power to break through from the Starry Sky Legend realm to the Starry Sky Immortal realm. However, Longao never thought that this mysterious power would actually hinder his cultivation. If this continued, not to mention breaking through to the Starry Sky Immortal realm with this mysterious power, it might even cause his realm to regress because of this mysterious power. It wasn't impossible for him to regress from the Starry Sky Legend realm to the Starry Sky realm. Longao was really frightened and immediately stopped cultivating. His face was extremely gloomy. He looked around with an ugly expression. Why did this mysterious power hinder him but not Yu Long? According to Yu Long, he used this power to break through to the Starry Sky Immortal realm. In this case, it seemed that this mysterious power was only targeting him. What should he do? Longao's face was very solemn. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. In desperation, he could only circulate the 9-revolution chaos mantra in his body to see what was going on with this mysterious power. In this case, only the 9-revolution chaos mantra could figure out what was going on. The result? As soon as he circulated the 9-revolution chaos mantra in his body, Longao's head immediately ached. It was as if he was being hit by a hammer. Every hit was so hard that he almost fainted. Chapter 24-29. He wasn't surprised at all. Because Longao had already guessed this result. It seemed that his 9-revolution chaos mantra had a lot to do with this mysterious force. The pain was almost unbearable, but Longao still gritted his teeth because he had to figure out what was going on with this mysterious force. Ah! Screams of pain and agony were heard. Longao couldn't hold on any longer. He didn't know why, but when this mysterious force came into contact with the 9-revolution chaos mantra, it was simply a devastating blow. He heaved a sigh of relief. In just a few minutes, Longao couldn't sense what was going on with this mysterious force. At this moment, Longao was simply depressed to the extreme. It was impossible to rely on this mysterious force to break through to the Starry Sky Immortal realm. In this case, there was no point in continuing to stay here. If it was someone else, they would have left long ago. Only Longao. The more it was like this, the more Longao wouldn't give up so easily. Because he was very clear that this mysterious force must have something to do with him. Otherwise, anyone could use this mysterious force to break through to the next realm. Only he couldn't use this mysterious force to break through. Instead, it would hinder his cultivation. What was going on? Longao still tried to operate the 9-revolution chaos mantra in his body. He had to solve this matter. He wouldn't give up until he solved this matter. As long as he operated the 9-revolution chaos mantra in his body, he would feel a splitting headache, as if his head was about to explode. After tossing and turning for a whole day and night, he still hadn't come up with anything. Longao sat on the ground helplessly, sensing the mysterious aura around him. He knew that this mysterious aura must be related to his 9-revolution chaos mantra, but he couldn't detect it at all. He couldn't go on like this. He had to solve this matter as soon as possible. Did he have to find the source of power? Longao was very depressed because he knew that he couldn't even touch the remnant mysterious force, let alone the source of power. According to this situation, Longao could almost say that even if he found the source of power, he couldn't touch it at all. If he touched it by force, the result could be imagined. At that time, it wouldn't be the so-called splitting headache. Even so, Longao was determined to find the source of this power. His intuition told him that this mysterious source of power might be able to bring him many things that he couldn't explain before. The key to finding the source of power was the 9-revolution chaos mantra. However, the 9 revolutions chaos mantra could not be forcefully circulated. He had no other choice. Longao took out the Chaos Stone Tablet, Chaos Seal, and Chaos Axe. He tested them one by one to see if these 3 items could make contact with the mysterious power. The attributeless Primal Chaos Stone Tablet was declared a failure. Between the Primal Chaos Seal and the Primal Chaos Axe, Longao chose the Primal Chaos Axe. The only thing left was the Primal Chaos Seal. If it continued to fail, then there was truly no other way. Longao tried to activate the Seal of Primal Chaos. Until now, he had not truly grasped the Seal of Primal Chaos. It was because of this that he did not know if the Seal of Primal Chaos could help him. He wouldn't know if he didn't try, but he was shocked when he tried. In just a few seconds, Longao was pleasantly surprised. He realized that this mysterious power didn't reject the Primal Chaos Seal. If that was the case, he could use the Primal Chaos Seal to probe and see what was going on with this mysterious power. The Primal Chaos Seal started to devour this mysterious power. Longao didn't know if this was a good or bad thing because this mysterious power would hinder his cultivation. If the Primal Chaos Seal backfired on him in the future, what would he do? After thinking about it, Longao decided to continue. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The Primal Chaos Seal's speed of devouring was extremely fast. Longao couldn't interfere at all. However, he had to finish devouring before Yulong returned. Otherwise, if Yulong found out about this, it would be troublesome. That was the case. Longao was extremely depressed because he couldn't control the Primal Chaos Seal. Therefore, even he didn't know when the Primal Chaos Seal would finish devouring. He wouldn't sit and wait for death. Longao wanted to take the initiative in everything. He immediately released the power of his essence spirit and slowly entered the Primal Chaos Seal. Longao couldn't be sure that even with the help of the Primal Chaos Seal, he wouldn't be in the same situation as before. What if the mysterious power backfired on him and he continued to have a splitting headache? If he acted rashly, he might be doomed eternally. However, even so, Longao still insisted on taking action because this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. After the Primal Chaos Seal had completely devoured the mysterious power, he wouldn't be able to control the Primal Chaos Seal and he would never be able to figure out what was going on with the mysterious power. As the power of his essence spirit slowly seeped into the Primal Chaos Seal, Longao could clearly sense how strong this mysterious power was. This was forcefully suppressed by the Primal Chaos Seal. If it was another Starry Sky divine weapon, it might not be able to suppress this mysterious power. There wasn't any backfire and Longao was pleasantly surprised. The power of his essence spirit didn't dare to get close to the mysterious power because until now, Longao wasn't sure if he would be backfired on if he came into contact with this mysterious power. He would observe for a while. In the blink of an eye, a day had passed and Longao still didn't take action casually. I have to give it a try. Gritting his teeth, Longao finally decided to take action because he knew very well that if this continued, who knew what would happen. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. Although he and Yulong were considered friends, no one could be sure about this. If Yulong discovered his secret, he might take action against him. It was better to have one more friend than one more enemy. Thinking of this, Longao finally took action to test the mysterious power. He wanted to see why this mysterious power was hindering his cultivation. Originally, Longao was very uneasy because he wasn't sure if his essence spirit would backfire on him if it came into contact with this mysterious power. He didn't know if he didn't touch it, but he was pleasantly surprised when he did. This was because when Longao's essence spirit touched the mysterious power, he thought that it would backfire on him. He didn't expect that this mysterious power wouldn't backfire on him. Instead, it felt close to him. What did this mean? Longao was a little confused and dumbfounded. It definitely wasn't because of him, but because of the primal chaos seal. Could it be that the primal chaos seal was related to the 9 revolution primal chaos mantra? If that was the case, he must have taken a detour previously. However, it wasn't too late. Chapter 2430. Touching the mysterious power inside the primal chaos seal didn't cause any backlash. Longao tried his best to sense the mysterious power inside the primal chaos seal, but he still didn't find anything. In the blink of an eye. 3 months later, Yulong returned and saw Longao sitting quietly in the cave dwelling cultivating. He was about to speak with a smile when his face suddenly froze. His face was filled with disbelief. The mysterious power is so thin. Longao opened his eyes and said with a smile, "I don't know what happened." It would be strange if Longao didn't know. Because 90% of the mysterious power here had been devoured by the primal chaos seal. If Longao hadn't stopped it in time, the mysterious power here would have been completely devoured. Devoured cleanly. Yulong wouldn't believe that Longao would devour the mysterious power here even if he was beaten to death. He shrugged helplessly and said, "With the help of the mysterious power here, my cultivation base has smoothly broken through the limit of the starry sky immortal realm. Otherwise, I would have suffered a great loss this time." Longao didn't tell Yulong the secret. Some things were better kept secret. "Yulong, the mysterious power here is about to disappear. There's not much use for us to stay here. How about we start looking for the source of power now? I've been looking for it for countless years, but there's no clue at all." It would be a lie to say that he didn't want to find the source of power. Just by relying on the mysterious power in the cave, his cultivation base had smoothly broken through the limit of the starry sky immortal realm. If he could find the source of power, he might be able to break through to the half-step starry sky dominator realm. However, the premise was that he had to find the source of power smoothly. It sounded simple, but it was difficult to do. For countless years, many people had entered this mysterious plane. Among them were starry sky legends, starry sky immortals, and even limit starry sky immortals. However, no matter who it was, they couldn't find the source of power. How could Longao not know what Yulong meant? In fact, even Longao didn't have the slightest confidence. However, since the primal chaos seal could devour the mysterious power, he might be able to find the source of power with the help of the primal chaos seal. He didn't tell Yulong about the primal chaos seal. "Yulong, you won't know if you don't try." Yulong wasn't a fool. Although the other party didn't say it explicitly, he could vaguely sense something fishy in Longao's words. Could it be that Longao really had a way to find the source of power? If that was the case, then it would be great. Yulong couldn't wait to find the source of his power. In that case, let's give it a try. Longao and Yulong immediately left the cave and began to search for the source of power. "Brother Long, tell me the truth. Do you have a way to lock onto the source of power?" Yulong was just guessing. Since so many people could not find him, it was impossible that Longao did not know about this. Since that was the case, there was no need for Longao to waste time. The only explanation was that Longao might really be able to lock onto the source of power. If that was the case, it would be great. His cultivation base had successfully broken through the starry sky immortal realm. Now, Yulong only had one wish, and that was to break through to the half-step starry sky dominator realm. If he cultivated normally, who knew how long it would take, and he might not even have the slightest hope. Now, There was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Brother Yulong, to be honest, I'm not completely confident. I'm just trying. Try. Even if there was only a slight chance, Yulong was not willing to give up. Gangmu, Yi Chong. Gangmu? Yi Chong. Longao was very curious, but he could clearly sense that the two people in the distance were genuine peak starry sky immortal realm experts. Were they Yulong's enemies? As if he could guess Longao's doubts, Yulong said, Brother Long, in this plane, I have two greatest enemies. One is Gangmu, and the other is Yi Chong. We have fought for countless years, but in the end, there are only two of them. At this point, Yulong did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he understood what Yulong meant. Yulong, Gangmu, and Yi Chong were all peak starry sky immortal realm experts. If it was one-on-one, Yulong would not be afraid of anyone. However, if it was 1 against 2, Yulong would definitely not be their match. Long time no see, Yulong. It seems that your strength has improved again. Just as Longao and Yulong were about to leave, Gangmu and Yi Chong came over. Both of them had a mocking look on their faces as they spoke in disdain. The two completely ignored Longao, because in their eyes, Longao was just a starry sky legend. With their strength, killing a starry sky legend was like stepping on an ant. Yulong's face was very gloomy. He said coldly, You two better get out of my way. Don't provoke me. Yo, our genius Yulong is actually angry. Let's see what kind of angry Yulong will be. Gangmu and Yi Chong released terrifying murderous intent. The three of them were like fire and water. Yulong had been hiding for so many years, so the two did not have a chance to attack. Now that they finally had the chance, they would be fools if they let it go. Whether it was Longao or Yulong, both of them were very clear about their intentions. Yulong's face was very gloomy and ugly, because in his opinion, once the three of them fought, Longao would certainly not be able to help him. Fighting 1 against 2, he was certainly not a match for Gangmu and Yi Chong. This situation was very unfavorable for the two of them. Run! If he chose to run away at this time, it would be a complete disgrace. Yulong would definitely not do such a shameful thing unless it was a last resort. How could Longao not know what Yulong meant? Longao sneered and said, Brother Yulong, these two dogs are quarreling too much here. Longao made a catcher gesture. His meaning was very clear. He wanted to kill the two of them. Not to mention Gangmu and Yi Chong, even Yulong was extremely shocked. Because he never thought that Longao would be so arrogant. If Longao had the qualifications to be arrogant, then it would be fine. The problem was that Longao was just a starry sky legend, and there was still a long way to go before he reached the peak starry sky immortal realm. Starry sky legend and peak starry sky immortal realm were not at the same level. The difference in strength between the two was too big. Not to mention 2 against 1, even one of them could easily deal with Longao. Chapter 2431. Hearing Longao's words, both Gangmu and Yi Chong started laughing crazily. It was as if they had heard the funniest thing in the world. A little star realm legend dared to be so arrogant, he was simply courting death. Yulong, you're really hopeless. You think you can defeat us with this trash beside you? Gangmu and Yi Chong definitely didn't put Longao in their eyes. It would be abnormal if they cared about Longao. Yulong, however, smiled. Although he didn't trust Longao, things had already come to this, he could only take one step at a time. At most, he would fight, as for life and death, he couldn't care less. Gangmu, Yi Chong, cut the crap. Fight if you want. Fight if you want. Seeing how fearless and confident Yulong was, the two of them were instantly curious. The more Yulong and Longao acted like this, the more uncertain they were. Could it be that they had something to rely on? Their expressions changed again. All of a sudden. Gangmu smiled and said, Yulong, you don't have to lie here. Let's see how you're going to resist our combined strength. Gangmu and Yi Chong took a step forward at the same time, both emitting powerful killing intent. Two peak star realm immortal realm auras fiercely pressed down. Regardless of whether it was Longao or Yulong, they didn't retreat in the slightest. Not only did they not retreat in the slightest, but they also pressed on step by step. If you take one step forward, we'll take 2 steps forward. Let's see who's more ruthless. Ah! The two were confused by Yulong's words. Could it be that Yulong and this mysterious youth were really that confident? Not only did they not retreat, but they pressed on. If they fought and something went wrong, wouldn't it be a loss? What should they do? Now, the two were in a dilemma. If they continued, they were worried that Yulong and Yi Chong had something to rely on. If they didn't continue, they would lose all their face if they chose to retreat. Gritting their teeth. Finally, whether it was Gang Mu or Yi Chong, they chose to continue. At their level of cultivation, sometimes face was more important than life, especially when facing Yulong. He would never back down. Before the two of them could say anything, the Chaos Axe appeared in Longao's hand and he swung it at the two of them. Longao took the initiative to attack. Gangmu and Yi Chong, as well as Yulong, were dumbfounded when they saw the mysterious young man taking the initiative to attack. None of them had expected that a Star Sky legend would take the initiative to attack. Could it be that this person was really that confident? It was a bit ridiculous. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. A small space legend actually dared to fight against 2 pinnacle space undying, and even took the initiative to attack. Is this true? Brother Long, don't be rash. Yulong was completely terrified. He had never imagined that Longao would choose to take the initiative to attack. He had fought with Gang Mu and Yi Chong for so many years, so he knew their strength very well. Not to mention Longao, even he himself was no match for the two of them. Yulong even thought that Longao would definitely die if he forced his way in. However, it was too late to stop them now. The two of them laughed loudly, not showing any mercy at all. Since they dared to provoke them, they would let them know the consequences of provoking them. But what was the result? After Longao swung the Chaos Axe madly, the three of them were completely shocked. Because the space around the two of them began to be filled with black air. This was the space crack. Not only that, the space crack was forcibly compressed. What was going on? Is this for real? The three of them couldn't believe it because they knew very well what it meant to be able to shatter the space and compress the space crack. Whether it was them, the half-step space dominators, or the 12 space dominators, they had never heard of anyone who could do this. Even though they had seen it with their own eyes, they still couldn't believe it. For so many years, the three of them had stayed in this plane. They knew almost nothing about what had happened in the past 20 years, and they didn't know anything about Longao. Otherwise, they wouldn't have underestimated Longao. To be able to shatter the space and compress the space crack, Longao was the #1 person in the vast starry sky. Even the 12 space dominators couldn't do it, but Longao had done it. If they encountered a starry sky immortal expert, it was really unknown whether they could resist Longao's starry sky mastery. However, the strength of a peak starry sky immortal expert was too strong. The two of them were so fast that after a brief shock, they steadily evaded the space crack's compression. The two of them looked very unsightly, but more than that, they were shocked. Who the hell are you? Even if the two of them were fools, they had already guessed that the other party's identity was not simple. They couldn't believe that a puny starry sky legend could do this. No wonder Yulong was so confident. The two of them knew very well that the other party was just a starry sky legend. If the other party could break through the starry sky immortal realm, or even the peak starry sky immortal realm, and use this move again, would the two of them be able to escape? It was really unknown. Anyway, the two of them didn't have the slightest bit of confidence. You're not qualified to know who I am. I'll give you two a choice now. If you choose to surrender, you won't die. Otherwise. Longao didn't continue, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Both the two of them and Yulong understood it very well. If it had been a moment ago, Gangmu and Yi Chong wouldn't have taken Longao seriously. Only now, the situation was completely different because the other party's strength was too strong. A starry sky legend was nothing, but Longao could not only shatter the starry sky, but also compress the space crack. As long as he had this kind of divine ability, the two of them wouldn't dare to act rashly. The two of them didn't have the confidence to resist this kind of divine ability. If they forced themselves to fight and the other party took advantage of the situation, the two of them wouldn't even have the chance to regret. Once they made such a low-level mistake, the consequences would be unimaginable. With a gloomy face, Yi Chong said coldly, "You Long, we'll settle the grudge between you and me in the future. For now, we'll take our leave." After thinking for a while, the two of them still didn't want to take the risk. They could only choose to give up. They felt helpless and reluctant. If they had known this would happen, they would have taken the risk. As long as they could kill Yu Long, they wouldn't be in trouble now. As the saying goes, if you don't remove the roots, the weeds will grow again when the spring breeze blows. Chapter 2432. Without any hesitation, the two turned around and left quickly. "Brother Long, since you're confident in killing them, why didn't you eliminate them completely?" Yu Long couldn't figure it out because he didn't know why Longao let the two of them go. Letting the tiger return to the mountain would cause endless trouble in the future. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the two of them, yet Longao chose to give it up. Longao shrugged helplessly and said helplessly, "Brother Long, if I had full confidence, do you think I would let them go?" No. Yu Long wasn't a fool. Of course, he understood what Longao meant. If that was the case, he finally understood what Longao meant. He felt helpless. "Brother Long, to tell you the truth, I accidentally obtained this divine ability back then. Perhaps I can be undefeated against people of the same level, but it's almost impossible to kill people of a higher level." Longao was being modest. Because according to Longao's current cultivation, once he used starry sky control, even the so-called starry sky immortals might not be a match for Longao. As for peak starry sky immortals, Longao was indeed no match for them. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it. Whether it was the 3 starry sky eagles of the first starry sky empire or Lin Han and Wang Dao of the second starry sky empire, how could they still be alive? Yu Long didn't have the slightest doubt. However, Yu Long knew very well that Longao's strength was definitely not simple, especially the previous move. Not only could it shatter the starry sky, but it could also compress space cracks. This divine ability alone wasn't something that anyone could master. Not to mention ordinary starry sky cultivators, even the 12 starry sky rulers might not be able to do this. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. It was a little too shocking. Yu Long didn't ask about the origin of this divine ability, nor did he ask how Longao obtained this divine ability. This was because Yu Long knew very well that if Longao wanted to say something, he didn't need to ask. He believed that Longao would say it himself. If Longao didn't want to say anything, then even if he asked, it would be nonsense. "Brother Long, let's continue." "All right." Just as the two of them left, Gongmu and Yi Chong, who had already left, suddenly appeared. Their faces were very gloomy and unsightly. "What do you think? This person isn't simple. I believe you know better than me what that spirit ability means. If we can get that spirit ability, we won't have to worry about 9 half-step starry sky rulers." The two of them were very clear about what it meant to shatter the starry skies and compress the cracks in the starry skies. The strongest aspect of the 9 half-step starry sky rulers was not their personal strength, but their 9 great secret realms. As long as the 9 secret realms existed, the 9 half-step starry sky rulers would be in an invincible position. He was determined to obtain this ability. "Even if we want this ability, this person might not give it to us. If we can't kill this person, won't we go for wool and come home shorn?" He was very worried. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. In any case, they had just experienced the opponent's spirit ability. If they hadn't been fast enough and broken through to the starry sky immortal realm, they would have died by now. Now that they thought about it, they still felt scared. However, under the absolute temptation, the two of them would not give up. They were determined to get this spirit ability. No need to talk nonsense. Now we just need to think about what we should do. According to my guess, although this person has a heaven-defying spirit ability, his personal strength is not enough. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let us go just now. Yi Chong nodded in agreement. He had also thought about this point. Because no matter who encountered this person, he believed that they would eliminate the source of trouble instead of letting the tiger return to the mountain. It would be a lie to say that there was nothing fishy about this. In that case, we just need to find the right opportunity to act. I don't believe we will fail. All right, let's do as you say. Since things had already come to this, they could only do so. Just like this, the two of them did not choose to give up. Instead, they continued to follow. It was worth mentioning that the two of them were not only strong, but also very good at hiding their auras. Because even Longao did not notice them following them. Whether it was Longao or Yulong, both of them agreed that since the two of them had fled in fear, under normal circumstances, they would not continue to follow unless their brains were damaged. But the result? Longao held the primal chaos seal in his hand and kept sensing this mysterious power. Relying on his own strength and Yulong's help, they could not find this mysterious power. Now, they could only rely on the primal chaos seal in his hand. As for Yulong, of course, he knew that Longao had a starry sky divine tool. He could also guess that Longao had such great confidence because of this starry sky divine tool. As for whether they could succeed or not, it would still depend on luck. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Because of this, Yulong did not have much hope and did not ask any questions. Strictly speaking, the current Yulong was like Longao's bodyguard. Nothing happened. Longao was extremely depressed. Previously in the cave abode, he had clearly used the primal chaos seal to devour this mysterious power. He thought that he could use the power of the primal chaos seal to find the source of this mysterious power. But now, Longao tried to infuse the power of his primordial spirit into the primal chaos seal, but he was shocked to find that the mysterious power that he had devoured previously had disappeared without a trace. What was going on? He was completely dumbfounded because Longao had already guessed that this mysterious power should have been completely refined and integrated after being devoured by the primal chaos seal. In other words, he was too late. However, the speed at which the primal chaos seal refined the mysterious power seemed to be a little too fast. Brother Long, what's wrong? Gradually, Yulong also realized that something was wrong because Longao's expression was becoming more and more serious. Could it be that there was trouble in finding the source of this mysterious power? If that was the case, Yulong would definitely be anxious because he had been searching for so many years without any results. Now that there was even the slightest chance, he was not willing to give up. Longao nodded and said, "Brother Yulong, I believe you already know that I am so confident because I want to rely on this starry sky divine tool. Previously, my starry sky divine tool devoured a trace of the mysterious power, but I did not expect this mysterious power to disappear. Now, even I have no choice but to devour another trace of the mysterious power. Next, we have to find the source of this mysterious power as soon as possible." Chapter 2433. Yulong roughly understood Longao's meaning. He was very surprised. Because Yulong never expected that Longao's starry sky divine tool could devour a little mysterious power. No wonder Longao was so confident that he could find the source of the mysterious power. Yulong certainly did not hesitate. The two left and returned to the original cave. "Brother Long, what kind of starry sky divine tool is this?" He could not help but be curious. It would be fine if it was something else, but the source of the mysterious power was something he could not hold back. "To be honest, this is a starry sky divine tool that I accidentally obtained. After so many years, I haven't really mastered it. As for this starry sky divine tool's ability to devour a little mysterious power, I just found out." So that was it. He wanted to say something but stopped. "Brother Yulong, what do you want to say?" Longao was not a fool. Looking at Yulong's expression, he knew that Yulong must have something to say. Yulong still looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. There were several times when he wanted to say something, but he looked embarrassed. What did this mean? Long wanted to say something but stopped. Longao didn't know what he meant, but since Long didn't say anything, he didn't continue to ask. Brother Long, why don't you give this starry sky divine tool to me? I can agree to any of your conditions. Hand over the primal chaos seal? It was impossible. Longao had the primal chaos axe, the primal chaos palace, the primal chaos seal and the non-attributed primal chaos stone tablet. Although he had not really mastered the primal chaos seal, Longao was almost certain that this starry sky divine tool was very powerful, especially since the primal chaos seal could devour the mysterious power. Although Longao did not open his heart to Long, he did treat Long as a friend. Because of this, he did not expect that Long would make such a request. His face instantly darkened. Before Longao could speak, Long said, Brother Long, don't misunderstand. Did he misunderstand? Anyone would misunderstand this matter. If they did not misunderstand, they would not be human. Longao's expression turned extremely unsightly. He said coldly, Brother Long, it seems that you did it on purpose for me to treat you as a friend. Long could clearly sense the murderous aura emanating from the man. Of course, he knew that his conditions were a bit excessive, but in order to obtain the mysterious power and break through to the half-step starry sky ruler realm, he had no choice. He sighed deeply. Brother Long, to tell you the truth. Longao didn't say anything. He just stood there quietly. After so many years, although I've used the mysterious power here to break through again and again and reached the limit of the starry sky immortal realm, if I want to continue to improve, I'll have to get a primal chaos tablet or a secret realm, but it's almost impossible. Longao remained silent. Of course, he understood what Long meant. Without a doubt. Whether it was the 9 great secret realms or the 12 chaos stone tablets, or even the 12 chaos stone tablets he had obtained, it was almost impossible for others to obtain them. Since then, apart from those who obtained primal chaos stone tablets and secret realms, no one else could become a half-step cosmic ruler or cosmic ruler. But did it have anything to do with him? It didn't seem to have anything to do with him. I'm very unwilling. If I can get Brother Long's divine tool and find the source of its power, I'll have a chance to break through to the half-step cosmic ruler realm. Humph. Without waiting for Long to finish his words, Longao had already heavily snorted coldly, his face full of unhappiness. Long, don't you think you're going overboard? I've always treated you as a friend. I've told you before that as long as I can find the source of power, I'll let you devour as much of the mysterious power as possible. Yet, you want to take my divine artifact for yourself. Murderous intent surged. Longao was most annoyed by people like this. He treated him sincerely but provoked this kind of person again and again. Even if the other party was a limit starry sky immortal, Longao wasn't afraid. At most, he would fight because he was full of confidence. Even if he couldn't beat Long, he could escape unscathed. Long sighed deeply again and said helplessly, Brother Long, you misunderstood. I don't mean to steal your divine weapon. I believe you should know that even if we find the source of power, I can't continue to break through to half-step starry sky ruler by devouring the mysterious power. Does it have anything to do with me? Yes. Long continued, since the starry sky divine weapon in your hand can devour a small amount of mysterious energy, it must be extraordinary. I hope to use this starry sky divine weapon. He waved his hand. Before Long finished speaking, Longao said, That's impossible. If you want to steal it by force, I'll accompany you to the end. There was no fear. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't dare to do this to a limit starry sky immortal. It would be suicide. However, Longao wasn't afraid at all. Not to mention a limit starry sky immortal, he wouldn't even be afraid of a cosmic ruler. Long didn't have the slightest intention to attack. He said bitterly, Brother Long, you misunderstood me. If you have any difficulties, just tell me. Why do you have to be like this? In fact, Longao had already guessed that Long must have other difficulties. He couldn't just want to break through to the next realm. His intuition was very accurate. Long was a good person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made friends with him and told him that the primal chaos seal could devour mysterious power. Brother Long, if I'm not wrong, you should already know my identity. Longao nodded. Since things had already come to this, he didn't continue to pretend. He told the truth. Yes, according to my guess, you're not a human. You're a space divine beast. Moreover, you're from the mysterious and powerful Space Dragon clan. In the vast starry sky, there were countless divine dragons. However, countless divine dragons had a race, and the countless divine dragon races were collectively known as the Starry Sky Dragon clan. Longao had already guessed that the wandering dragon in front of him was not only a Starry Sky divine dragon, but also from the upper echelons of the dragon clan. Yu Long nodded and said, yes, I'm not only from the dragon clan, but also from the most powerful peak dragon clan. Moreover, I'm the dragon emperor of the dragon clan. When my father was killed and I inherited the throne, I fled everywhere. If I can break through to the half-step Starry Sky immortal realm, I can go back and take revenge. Otherwise, I won't have the chance to take back the dragon clan in this lifetime. What? He was completely shocked. Longao had never thought that Yu Long was from the peak dragon clan and the dragon emperor of the dragon clan. Chapter 2434. Pinnacle Dragon Clan. Longao knew very well what Pinnacle Dragon Clan meant. In the vast starry sky, there were countless dragon clans. Among all the dragon clans, there was the largest dragon clan, known as the Pinnacle Dragon Clan. Longao never expected Yu Long to be the dragon emperor of the Pinnacle Dragon Clan. However, he was very curious and asked, Brother Yu Long, since your cultivation base has broken through the peak Starry Sky immortal realm, I guess your enemy is at most a peak Starry Sky immortal realm. Don't you have the slightest confidence? Longao was very clear about this point. In the entire Pinnacle Dragon Clan, having 2 peak Starry Sky immortal realm experts was already very impressive. One was Yu Long, and the other was Yu Long's enemy. If that was the case, as long as Yu Long killed this person, he could easily take back the Pinnacle Dragon Clan that belonged to him. In that case, why did Yu Long have to wait until his cultivation base broke through to the half-step Starry Sky Dominator realm? But one had to know. There was only one way for a peak Starry Sky immortal to break through to the half-step Starry Sky Dominator realm, and that was to devour secret realms. In the entire vast starry sky, there were only 9 secret realms, corresponding to 9 half-step Starry Sky Dominators. It was almost impossible for Yu Long to break through to the half-step Starry Sky Dominator realm, taking 10,000 steps back. Even if Yu Long could find the source of power and devour it, the chances of him successfully breaking through to the half-step Starry Sky Dominator realm were too low. Speaking of this, Yu Long felt extremely helpless. Sighing deeply, Yu Long said helplessly, Brother Long, to be honest, my enemy is my second uncle. He's not only a peak Starry Sky immortal realm expert, but also has the supreme treasure of our Pinnacle Dragon Clan. Therefore, I'm not his opponent unless my cultivation base breaks through to the half-step Starry Sky Dominator realm. So that was it. Yu Long, forgive me for being blunt, but even if you devour the source of power, you may not be able to break through to the half-step Starry Sky Dominator realm. I believe you should know that there are only 9 secret realms in the vast starry sky, and there are already 9 half-step Starry Sky Dominators. How could Yu Long not know this? However, there was no other way to kill his second uncle and take back the Pinnacle Dragon Clan that belonged to him. I don't want to let even the slightest chance. He shrugged his shoulders helplessly. I'm sorry, but I can't do that. What a joke. No matter what happened, he would never hand over the seal of primal chaos. Seemingly having guessed this outcome, Yu Long was not angry at all. Instead, he heaved a sigh of relief and said with a smile, Brother Long, I was confused just now. Me too. He waved his hand, stopping Yu Long from continuing. Longao smiled and said, Friend, there's no need to say more. Longao knew what Yu Long was thinking. It seemed like he was blinded by hatred. Otherwise, Yu Long wouldn't be like this. If he still blamed Yu Long for this, then he would be too unkind. Yu Long felt very guilty, but he really couldn't explain it in this situation. Inside the cave, Longao held the primal chaos seal in his hand and tried to continue devouring the mysterious power. In the same situation as before, the Seal of Chaos had already begun to devour the remaining mysterious energy in the surroundings in just a few seconds. He thought that as long as he was fast enough, he would be able to succeed. But what was the result? Longao was completely dumbfounded. He had never expected that the mysterious energy that had been devoured by the Primal Chaos Seal would be refined by the Primal Chaos Seal as soon as it entered. What was going on? The speed at which the Primal Chaos Seal refined the mysterious energy seemed to be a little too fast. It was so fast that Longao was a little helpless. "Brother Long, what's wrong?" Long was very curious. He didn't know what was going on with Longao, but at this moment, Longao's face was solemn. "Brother Long, I believe you already know the power of this Starry Sky Divine Weapon. I originally thought that as long as this Starry Sky Divine Weapon devoured the mysterious energy and we were fast enough, we could use the Starry Sky Divine Weapon to find the source of the energy." Long didn't say anything because his intuition told him that this matter must be troublesome. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't be like this. What kind of trouble could it be? Long didn't ask because he knew that since Longao had already said it, he definitely wouldn't hide anything. "Just now, I tried to send the power of primordial spirit into the Starry Sky Divine Weapon, but I helplessly discovered that the Starry Sky Divine Weapon was refining the mysterious energy too fast." At this point, Longao didn't continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Long also felt helpless and didn't say anything more. "Brother Long, I have to think about what to do next. I'll wait for you outside. Call me if you need anything." Long was very tactful because he knew that Longao definitely wanted to be alone at this moment. After Long left the cave, Longao immediately sent the power of primordial spirit into the Primal Chaos Seal to see what was going on. Why was the Primal Chaos Seal refining the mysterious energy so fast? He wouldn't have known if he hadn't sensed it, but he was shocked when he sensed it. This was because Longao could clearly sense that the Primal Chaos Seal was like a bottomless pit. No matter how much mysterious energy it devoured, it wouldn't be enough. Anyway, it would start to merge after refining. Longao didn't know whether it was good or bad, but since things had already come to this, he could only let the Primal Chaos Seal devour the mysterious energy and merge it. A few hours later. "Brother Long, is there still no way?" Nodding his head, Longao said helplessly, "I've already said that I can't control this Starry Sky Divine Weapon. As for what's inside, I have no idea. However, the only thing we can do now is to keep looking for places like this so that my Starry Sky Divine Weapon can devour the mysterious energy. Maybe then, there's still a chance." Since things had already come to this, even Longao didn't have a good solution. Long also knew that if there was a way, Longao wouldn't hide it from him. "Okay, I know a few places. Although the mysterious energy is weak, it should work." "Okay." The two of them did not hesitate at all as they did not want to waste any time. The place that Long mentioned was actually occupied by others. However, Long's strength was there for all to see. After the two of them arrived at the place, no one dared to stay any longer and immediately chose to leave. Every time Longao arrived at a place, he would immediately use the Primal Chaos Seal to devour the mysterious energy. However, no matter how much mysterious energy the Primal Chaos Seal devoured, it was still a bottomless pit. If this continued, who knew how much mysterious energy it would need to devour? Unless it devoured the source of the mysterious energy. Chapter 2435. Longao was depressed to the extreme. In just a few days, they had already gone to several places. And the result? Not a single place could successfully resist the Primal Chaos Seal's refinement. As for the reason, even Longao did not know. If this continued, it would not help him at all. What should he do? No matter how much mysterious power the Primal Chaos Seal devoured, it would be refined immediately without giving Longao any chance. After listening to Longao's words, Long was also depressed to the extreme. He shrugged helplessly. After a deep sigh, Long said helplessly, "Brother Long, forgive me for being blunt, but if we continue like this, when will it end?" How could Longao not know what Long meant? Apart from this method, I have a better way to find the source of power. Longao wanted the source of power more than Yulong because he had an intuition that if he could get the source of power, he might be able to break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm or even the limit of the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. A breakthrough in realm was not a big deal. Longao only cared about one thing, the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra. Since the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra broke through to the 6th Revolution, it was completely impossible to continue to break through. Longao did not know when he could break through to the 7th Revolution, let alone the 8th or 9th Revolution. However, the mysterious power interfered with the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra, giving Longao a slight chance. If he could get the source of power and use it to break through to the 7th Revolution, the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra would not be able to break through. Longao's request was not high. He only hoped that his 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra would break through to the 7th Revolution. Longao knew very well what the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra meant. The 6th Revolution alone had given birth to such a heaven-defying ability like controlling the starry sky. It was hard to imagine what kind of heaven-defying ability it would give birth to if he could break through to the 7th Revolution. He was looking forward to it. Yulong and Longao were both very helpless because both of them knew very well in their hearts that if this situation continued, who knew when they would be able to find the source of power? 1 year. 10,000 years. 100 million years. 1 trillion years. The longer they delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. Because there could be variables at any time, no one could be sure that no one else had found the source of power. Did he have to use the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra by force? Longao knew that if he forcefully used the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra, the chances of finding the source of power were very high. But could he? Longao's expression was ugly. Forcefully using the 9 Revolution Chaos Mantra would only result in one result, and that was a splitting headache or even fainting. It would have been fine if he had found the source of his power before he fainted. What he was afraid of was that he would faint before he could find the source of his power. What should he do? For a moment, Longao was in a dilemma. In fact, in Longao's heart, he was still a little worried about Yulong. Although they were already friends, one could never judge a book by its cover. Especially when it came to the source of power, no one knew what Yulong was thinking. It was better to be safe than sorry. If Yulong decided to attack him because of the source of his power, he wouldn't be able to fight back since he was already unconscious. At that time, he would be meat on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. In the end, Longao chose to give up in the end because he didn't want to fall into a hopeless situation because of looking for the source of power. On a huge mountain. At the peak of the mountain, Longao and Yulong stood against the wind, both of their expressions ugly. Brother Yulong, you've been in this plane for so many years. Do you know how big this plane is? This was the most important thing. Because Longao knew very well that if the mysterious plane wasn't boundless, with Yulong's strength, he should have been able to search every place after so many years. Under such circumstances, it was impossible that Yulong and the rest couldn't find the source of power. It was a little ridiculous. Longao also knew that Yulong was definitely not lying to him. Otherwise, why would Yulong and the rest still stay here? This was really strange. How could Yulong not know what Longao meant? Speaking of this, Yulong looked helpless and said helplessly, "Brother Long, I'm not afraid of you laughing at me. Originally, with my strength, it's easy to detect the size of a plane. However, after so many years, I've never found out how big this plane is. Not to mention others, even I don't want to believe it." I see. Longao wasn't surprised at all because he had sensed the size of this plane many times. It was exactly the same as Yulong's. Even with his strength, he couldn't sense the size of this mysterious plane. Is this true? If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death because both he and Yulong were strong. Not to mention this plane, they could even sense the size of the first plane where the first Starry Sky Empire was located. Brother Yulong, do you know the reason? Brother Long, I know what you mean. After so many years of thinking, if I'm not mistaken, this plane should be formed by the combination of countless planes. It's just that we can't find out at all. Strictly speaking, not to mention us, even the 9 half-step starry sky dominators and the 12 starry sky dominators can't sense where the source of power is. Hearing Yulong's words, Longao was completely stunned, because ever since he stepped into the vast starry sky, he seemed to have never heard of such a thing. Layers upon layers of planes, countless planes formed a brand new plane. It was simply unheard of. It was a bit too shocking. Longao didn't doubt Yulong's words at all. Apart from this, he really couldn't think of any other reason why he, Yulong, and the others couldn't sense the specific location of the source of power. If this was really the case, things would be really troublesome because they didn't know where the source of power was. The biggest problem was how to go to another plane under the layers of planes. Brother Yulong, have you figured out the superposition of planes? Shaking his head, Yulong said helplessly, no, I've been sensing this plane for so many years, but I still haven't found anything. If we can figure out what's going on with this plane, maybe we can find the source of power. Can you figure out what's going on with this plane? Chapter 2436. He didn't have the slightest confidence. After so many years without any results, Yulong had lost his confidence. He didn't know if he would have a chance to find the source of power if he continued to search. If this continued, he might as well give up early and think of other ways to break through to the half-step starry sky ruler level. He had already wasted so many years. Was he going to keep wasting time? Thinking of this, Yulong sighed deeply. Brother Long, if we still can't find the source of power in 3 years, I'm ready to leave. Regarding Yulong's meaning, Longao knew clearly. Brother Yulong, forgive me for being blunt. Even if you find the source of power, you might not be able to break through to the half-step starry sky ruler level. How could Yulong not know this? However, finding the source of power was Yulong's only chance. Otherwise, breaking through to the half-step starry sky ruler level was almost a fool's dream. Speechless, Longao looked at him and continued, Brother Yulong, you and I are friends. I promise you that I will help you take back the Peak Dragon clan in the future and wash away your shame. Yulong didn't show the slightest surprise. Instead, his expression became more dignified. If a starry sky ruler or half-step starry sky ruler said this, he would be very happy and excited. But Longao. Although he had to admit that Longao's strength was very strong, especially the move that he had used before, which was actually able to shatter the starry sky and compress the space crack. However, no matter what, Longao's strength was still there. Longao was just a starry sky legend. It was almost impossible for him to contend against a peak starry sky immortal, especially his second uncle. Longao, thank you. You don't believe me? Could he believe it? Not to mention himself, no one would believe it. Yulong didn't speak, but his expression said it all. Longao didn't show the slightest anger. He was indeed not as strong as a peak starry sky immortal, so it was reasonable for Yulong to think so. The more this was the case, the more Longao was unconvinced. Whether it was a challenge or helping a friend, he was determined to interfere. Brother Yulong, after we leave this plane, I will follow you back to the Peak Dragon clan. Since Longao was like this, Yulong didn't say anything more. However, he had already decided that there was no need for him to implicate Longao in his hatred. He would just think of a way to settle this when the time came. In the following period of time, Longao did not use the primal chaos seal to devour the mysterious energy. This was because he had realized that it was impossible for him to find the source of his power just by relying on the chaos seal. Since that was the case, why waste time? The most important thing now was to find a way to stack the positioning planes. Otherwise, everything would be nonsense. Countless planes were stacked on top of one another. It was superposition and fusion, but no one knew whether it was superposition or fusion. Whether it was Longao or Yulong, they couldn't figure out what this plane was. This was what shocked them the most. At the same time, they didn't know how this plane was formed. It was a little inconceivable. Only Longao was left at the top of the mountain. He sat alone at the top of the mountain, letting the breeze blow past him. As for Yulong, he continued to explore the secrets of this plane. According to Yulong, he would take at most 3 years. After 3 years, if he still couldn't find the source of power, he would choose to leave this place. Longao was deeply aware of Yulong's helplessness. Deep hatred. Yulong had waited for countless years and he really couldn't wait any longer. If it were him, would he have waited for so many years? Longao knew very well that if Yulong still couldn't find the source of power after 3 years, once he left and his cultivation couldn't break through to the half-step Starry Sky Dominator realm, he would most likely seek revenge directly. In terms of strength, it was really unknown who was stronger between Yulong and his second uncle. However, Yulong had already said that his second uncle had a supreme treasure of the Peak Dragon clan. With this Starry Sky divine weapon, he could completely suppress him. He didn't continue to dwell on this issue. There were too many variables in 3 years. No one knew what would happen after 3 years. If he could find the source of power within these 3 years, he might really be able to help Yulong break through to the half-step Starry Sky Dominator realm. The gap between the Peak Starry Sky Immortal realm and the half-step Starry Sky Dominator realm was too big. The two weren't on the same level at all. It could be said that a half-step Starry Sky Dominator could kill a Peak Starry Sky Immortal realm expert in a matter of minutes. This was the real reason why Yulong spent countless years trying to break through. Only then could he have full confidence. Standing up and clenching his fists, Longao looked at the endless void in the distance. I will definitely find the source of power. Not only for Yulong, but also for himself. Because the source of power was closely related to his 9 Revolution Primal Chaos mantra, he had to find the source of power no matter what. Longao was still standing at the top of the mountain, directly releasing the terrifying power of his primordial spirit. His cultivation base had smoothly broken through to the Starry Sky Legend realm. Longao's primordial spirit was already very powerful, and for some reason, his primordial spirit power was far above ordinary people. It could be said that Longao's primordial spirit was now comparable to a Peak Starry Sky Immortal realm expert. What kind of concept was this? In other words, a Peak Starry Sky Immortal realm expert could only dream of suppressing Longao with his primordial spirit. In the vast starry sky, it seemed that only Longao alone could achieve this. Longao's primordial spirit covered a wide range. He knew very well that under normal circumstances, his primordial spirit power would have already covered the entire plane. But now, it was boundless. No matter how much primordial spirit power Longao released, he still couldn't touch the boundary. If this continued, even if he tired himself to death, he believed that he still wouldn't be able to cover the entire plane. Yulong's senses and guesses were completely correct. There was only one explanation for this situation, and that was that this plane was a combination of countless planes. Otherwise, it would be impossible to achieve this. It was hard to imagine how many planes could be superimposed to such an extent that even his powerful primordial spirit couldn't cover it. It was simply unbelievable. Even so, Longao didn't choose to give up. He continued to release his primordial spirit. He wanted to see how big this plane was and how many planes were superimposed. This way, he could better grasp what to do next. After releasing his primordial spirit for dozens of minutes, Longao gradually stopped. Chapter 2437. Time flew by like a shuttle. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. In these 2 years, neither Longao nor Yulong succeeded in finding the source of power. There was only 1 year left. Yulong had made up his mind. No matter what, he would leave if he couldn't find the source of power in the remaining 1 year. This was because Yulong knew very well that if this situation continued, it would be useless even if he continued to stay. Instead of wasting time, it was better to leave this place as soon as possible and think of other ways to take revenge. In the meantime, Yi Chong and Gang Mu had troubled the two of them several times, but they didn't dare to attack them by force. They only attacked them secretly. In these 2 years, the two of them had attacked them countless times, but none of them succeeded. What did this mean? It would be a lie to say that they weren't frustrated. At the top of the mountain, Yulong, to be honest, I'm practicing a special cultivation technique. As long as I force it, I'll have a splitting headache and even faint. What did this mean? I forgot to tell you that there's no problem if I force it. As long as I do it, this mysterious force will automatically erode me. I see. Yulong was completely shocked because he never thought that there was such a thing. If Longao hadn't told him, he wouldn't have believed it. No wonder Longao could sense this mysterious force. No wonder Longao could devour the mysterious force with the help of the Star God weapon. No wonder Longao didn't want to give up for 2 years. He clearly knew that it would not work, yet he still insisted on staying. It turned out that Longao had a lot of confidence, and the key lay in this cultivation method and the starry sky divine tool in his hand. Brother Long, what do you mean? Yulong couldn't understand. Since Brother Long had such a secret, why didn't he tell him earlier and waste 2 years? After all, the two of them knew very well that they wouldn't be able to find the source of power in 2 years. Brother Yulong, I've already made myself very clear. Although I know that the martial technique I'm practicing is related to the mysterious power, I will immediately faint if I try to force myself to use this martial technique. I see. Yulong wasn't a fool. He immediately understood what Longao meant. Faint. If he fainted under special circumstances, then he would be fine. If he fainted here, no one knew what would happen. Even if he died, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. No wonder Longao was unwilling to use this method casually. Not to mention Longao, even if it was him, he would have made the same choice. No one was willing to put themselves in danger. Brother Long, I know what you mean. One may know a person for a long time without understanding their true nature. Although he and Longao were already friends, there was no need for Longao to trust him. Without the slightest doubt, Yulong immediately swore a blood oath in order to make Longao believe in him and to find the source of his power as soon as possible. That was exactly what Longao meant. It wasn't that he didn't trust Yulong, but it was a matter of life and death. It was better to be careful. Brother Yulong, you have to remember not to mess up my position after I faint. Otherwise, we'll have to start all over again. Don't worry, Brother Long. I'll keep this in mind. This time, Longao was prepared to use the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra by force. He wouldn't give up until he found the source of his power. Because he had wasted 2 years, it wasn't a good idea to continue like this. If it was any other thing, Longao would have definitely chosen to give up. He wouldn't joke about his own life. Even if it wasn't for himself, he had to think about his family and children. However, the situation was completely different now. The mysterious power was related to the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra. No matter what happened, he had to figure it out and see what was going on. He rested for a few days to make preparations. This time, he was forced to use the 9 Revolution Chaos formula. It was completely different from the previous times. This time, he had to persevere. Otherwise, he would give up halfway every time. God knows when it would end. Brother Yulong, you have to remember one thing, and the most important thing is that you have to be careful of Yi Chong and Gang Mu. Both of them were peak Starry Sky immortal experts and were hiding in the dark. Longao was almost certain that they had never left. If they reaped the benefits, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Yulong nodded. Don't worry about this. After so many years of dealing with them, I know them very well. As long as they are close to us, I will be able to sense them. With regards to Yulong, Longao was still very assured. However, it was better to be safe than sorry, especially in this situation. He had to be even more careful. He couldn't afford to have any accidents. He took a deep breath. In the next second, Longao immediately began to use the 9 Revolution Primal Chaos Mantra in his body. In just a few seconds, an incomparable pain instantly spread to his mind, as if his mind was about to be torn apart. The pain was excruciating. Even so, Longao forced himself to endure it. Ah! Looking at Longao's painful face, Yulong could almost feel how much pain Longao was in. However, Longao was a real Starry Sky legend. With his strength, it was easy to imagine how painful it was for him to be in such pain. Long didn't dare to move because before using the 9 revolution primal chaos mantra, Longao had told him not to touch him under any circumstances. Let's go. Longao's speed soared to the extreme because he didn't know how long he could hold on. He just hoped to find the source of power as soon as possible. In that case, it would be a blessing in disguise. Long didn't say anything and directly followed him. However, to their surprise, Gongmu and Yi Chong had been following them not far away. They didn't know what method they used, but Longao didn't sense their existence. Otherwise, even if you beat him to death, he wouldn't use the 9 revolution primal chaos mantra so easily. It would only bring trouble to himself. What do you think they are doing? He was very curious. He didn't know what the two were doing, especially Longao. It was very strange. However, Yi Chong shook his head and said, "We spent 2 years to come up with this method that can temporarily hide from them. According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, the two of them should have found a way to find the source of power. We just need to keep following them." He didn't continue, but Yi Chong's meaning was very clear. Gongmu nodded in agreement and said, "Okay, we'll do as you say." Chapter 2438. Longao resisted the waves of pain coming from his mind. Persevere. If he chose to give up at this time, then everything would be in vain. He gritted his teeth and persevered. Long, who had been following Longao, sped up to the extreme, barely able to keep up with Longao. At this time, he discovered that Longao had too many secrets. His speed alone was unrivaled unless it was a starry sky ruler or a half-step starry sky ruler. Long, of course, could see Longao's pain. But although he was worried, he did not dare to show the slightest bit of concern. He did not know what was going on with Longao. If he could not help and harmed Longao, he would not even have the chance to regret it. This could not go on. Longao could still maintain a trace of consciousness, but if this continued, it would not work. But there seemed to be no other way except to use the 9 revolution chaos mantra. What should he do? If it was before, Longao would never have thought that this plane was the superposition and fusion of countless planes. But with Long's reminder, Longao was more careful this time. Sensing with all his heart and with the help of the 9 revolution chaos mantra, Longao soon discovered that the countless planes were indeed superimposed, but the density was small enough that it was almost the same as a fusion. If it were not for the 9 revolution chaos mantra, he would not have been able to sense it. The secret of this plane, not to mention a peak starry sky immortal, even a half-step starry sky ruler or starry sky ruler might not be able to sense it. How did this plane come to be? He could not figure it out. He really could not figure it out. It was simply unimaginable. If he had not seen it with his own eyes and sensed it personally, he would not have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Under Longao's all-out sensing, he could only sense the superposition of countless planes. Wanting to separate these planes was simply a fantasy. In the end, Longao still chose to give up, gasping for breath. "Brother Long, you failed?" Nodding, Longao said helplessly, "If it was just a plane, I would definitely succeed this time. Just as you guessed, this plane is made up of countless planes stacked on top of each other. With my strength, it's impossible for me to sense them one by one." Longao had an intuition that even if his cultivation base broke through to the half-step starry sky ruler realm, or even the starry sky ruler realm, he wouldn't be able to do this. This plane was too strange. "Looks like we have no hope." It was very depressing. However, Long did not complain at all because he knew very well that Longao had done his best. To be able to do this, Longao was already very kind. If it were anyone else, would they dare to do this? Longao had already said before that if he forcefully used his cultivation method to sense the source of power, he would probably faint immediately. If he tried to do something bad at this time, it was easy to imagine what would happen. Longao believed in himself. If it were him, even if Longao swore a blood oath, would he dare to agree to it? The answer was probably no. It was because of this that Long admired Longao very much. Even if you and I keep searching, at this speed, We'll have to search for countless years. Thinking of this, Longao had a deep sense of helplessness because this plane contained too many planes, seemingly endless, and they did not know which plane the source of power was on. It could be said that, if they were lucky, they might be able to find it as soon as they started. If they were unlucky, not to mention 8 to 10 years, they might not be able to find it even in hundreds of millions of years. As for the problem of luck, Longao and Yulong both held an attitude of trying. Because in this case, whether it was Longao or Yulong, in fact, they did not have much confidence. Not only Yulong, even Longao had already decided that if he could not locate the source of power within a year, there was no doubt that he would not continue to stay here and would choose to leave. It was a very painful thing. In the distance, Gongmu and Yi Chong were very curious. They did not know what was going on with the two, but they were very afraid of them. Gongmu and Yi Chong did not dare to act rashly. If they were unlucky, the gains would not make up for the losses. They had to find an opportunity and seize it immediately. Brother Long, what's wrong? Longao looked curious, but then he shook his head and said, something's not right. I keep feeling that someone is watching us. Impossible. Not to mention Yulong, even Longao found it hard to believe. Not to mention a peak Starry Sky immortal expert, even if 9 Starry Sky rulers came, it was impossible for him not to sense it. Brother Yulong, we can't rule out the possibility that someone is using a secret technique. No matter what, the vast starry sky is full of strange things. We have to be vigilant. How could Yulong not know Longao's meaning? The first thing they thought of was Gongmu and Yi Chong. Apart from them, there seemed to be no one else who had nothing better to do than to follow them. If that was the case, there was no doubt that the two's purpose was obvious. If they did not kill the two, there would be endless troubles in the future. Longao and Yulong did not speak. They looked at each other and could see a hint of clues from each other's eyes. Their speed suddenly soared to the extreme. In the blink of an eye, they had disappeared without a trace. In the distance, Gongmu and Yechong suddenly saw the two of them disappear. Gongmu and Yechong were completely dumbfounded. Could it be that the two of them had discovered their tracks? What should we do now? Wait and see. Longao and Yulong might not have discovered us. Otherwise, they would not have acted like this. Let's just wait here quietly. Yi Chong's face was very ugly. He said solemnly, if Longao and Yulong discover us, it will be very difficult for us to continue following them. We have to think of a way to deal with them. Otherwise, we will be in a very passive position in the future. Gongmu understood Yi Chong's meaning. He said, although this plane is boundless, the two should not be too far away from us. As long as we are careful, we should not be discovered by them. The two did not have a good solution. Anyway, they did not have the courage to fight Longao and Yulong. They could only rely on following them and hope to find an opportunity to attack. Without any hesitation, both Gongmu and Yi Chong immediately followed. They had lost track of the two in the north, south, east and west. Gongmu and Yi Chong could only rely on luck. If they were lucky, they would be able to find them. If they were unlucky, then they would only be wasting their time. However, could the two of them locate Longao and Yulong? It was definitely nonsense. After all, Yulong and Longao were now on guard. Otherwise, they would not have left suddenly and concealed their aura. In this way, even if Gongmu and Yi Chong tried their best, they might not be able to locate Longao and Yulong. Chapter 2439. Inside the Nameless Cave. Brother Long, since you can sense their aura, why don't we get rid of them completely? Yulong couldn't figure it out. They couldn't kill them with their strength alone. In that case, they might as well take advantage of this opportunity to get rid of them completely. However, Longao shook his head and said, if you don't remove the roots, there will be endless troubles in the future. Gangmu and Yi Chong are following us. Other than wanting to kill us, the most important thing is to reap the benefits of the fisherman. Yulong was very clear about this. Even if that was the case, so what? After all, Gongmu and Yi Chong were very strong. He couldn't figure it out. Yu Long still couldn't figure out what Longao was thinking. Brother Long, I want to take advantage of this opportunity to get rid of the two of them in one fell swoop. Ah! Yu Long was completely dumbfounded by Longao's words. He never thought that Longao would make such a decision. It was almost impossible. Brother Long, you should know the difference in strength between us. It's impossible for us to kill the two of them. It wasn't that Yu Long wasn't confident, but it was indeed nonsense. Yu Long didn't know what Longao was thinking. Where did his confidence come from? It was almost impossible. Longao smiled indifferently and said, Brother Long, if you don't want to do it, I can do it alone. Yu Long was very reluctant, but for the sake of his friend, he finally nodded and said, Brother Long, since you and I are friends, we live and die together. Longao smiled. Yu Long also smiled. Longao hadn't thought of a better way, but he still said to cut the weeds and remove the roots to prevent future trouble. Now that his cultivation base had successfully broken through to Star Sky Legend, Longao was full of confidence. As long as his cultivation base could smoothly break through to Star Sky Immortal Realm, then let alone the same rank, he believed he could even fight against peak Star Sky Immortal Realm experts. If his cultivation base could break through smoothly, all problems would be solved. After listening to Longao's explanation, Yu Long pondered. Brother Long, with your talent, it shouldn't be a problem for you to break through from Universe Legend to Universe Immortal, but now. He didn't continue speaking. Yu Long didn't know why Longao couldn't break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. What was the reason? He could not figure it out. Under normal circumstances, Longao's talent was there, and it was not something that ordinary people could contend against. Not to mention Yu Long, even Longao was a little curious because he had the reincarnation sacred body. Logically speaking, as long as he devoured a large amount of energy, he would be able to smoothly break through. But what was the result? For so long, he had devoured a lot of energy, but he still couldn't break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. If he didn't break through, it would be impossible for him to kill Yi Chong and Gang Mu. If this had happened in the past, Longao would have been very confident. After all, in just 30 years, his cultivation had risen from the Hutian realm to the legend of the Starry Sky. This kind of cultivation speed could only be described with one word: monstrous. However, Longao didn't have the slightest bit of confidence right now. Due to the repeated setbacks, Longao had once thought that his cultivation would stop there forever. Brother Long, are you trying to break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm with the source of power? Yes. Longao wanted to find the source of power for two reasons. First, he wanted to use the 9 Revolution Chaos formula. Second, he hoped to use the source of power to break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. Unfortunately, it was almost impossible to find the source of power now. After thinking for a while, Yu Long said, Brother Long, if you trust me, you can take the risk and go back to the Pinnacle Dragon Clan with me. What do you mean? Longao certainly knew what the Pinnacle Dragon Clan meant. If Yu Long was still the Dragon Emperor of the Pinnacle Dragon Clan, this wouldn't be a problem. But now, it was a problem. Because the Dragon Emperor of the Pinnacle Dragon Clan was not Yu Long, but Yu Long's second uncle, Yu Bubai, who was also an extreme Starry Sky Immortal Realm expert and had a supreme treasure of the Pinnacle Dragon Clan. If he and Yu Long went back now, it was easy to imagine what would happen. Was it worth risking their lives for nothing? As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, Yu Long said, to be honest, the Pinnacle Dragon Clan is one of the most powerful clans in the vast Starry Sky. In addition to the supreme treasure of the Dragon Emperor, there is another secret, which is the Dragon Vein. Dragon Vein? Longao didn't say anything. He knew very well that the Dragon Vein must be a secret of the Pinnacle Dragon Clan. Otherwise, Yu Long wouldn't have told him about it. Just as Longao had guessed, Yu Long couldn't care about anything else. He said, I believe you've already guessed that the Dragon Vein can help anyone, including the members of the Dragon Clan, to break through quickly. But there is one thing, you must have a suitable physique. Otherwise, everything is nonsense. Brother Yu Long, you mean you want me to go to the Pinnacle Dragon Clan to find the Dragon Vein and use its power to break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm? Yu Long nodded and said, since it has come to this, There is no need for us to talk nonsense. You help me and I will help you. As long as you help me kill Yu Bubai, the Pinnacle Dragon Clan will stand by your side no matter what. Yu Long's meaning was clear. No matter what happened, the Pinnacle Dragon Clan would help Longao, even if he had to face the entire starry sky. Longao knew what Yu Long meant. He would be lying if he said he wasn't tempted. After all, the Pinnacle Dragon Clan's strength was needless to say. Even the number 1 Starry Sky Empire might not be able to compete with the Pinnacle Dragon Clan. It was just that the Pinnacle Dragon Clan didn't dare to act casually. If the 9 great Starry Sky Empires joined forces, the Pinnacle Dragon Clan wouldn't be able to resist. No matter what, Longao couldn't refuse. He nodded and said with a smile, "No problem, let's go now. As for this plane, we'll come back later." That's what I was thinking. Both of them knew very well that staying here wouldn't make any difference. Rather than that, they might as well leave to deal with other matters and come back later to deal with this matter. They left right away. They didn't continue to deal with Gungmu and Yi Chong. Longao had decided to wait until he broke through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm before coming back to kill them. The two of them left the mysterious plane as quickly as they could. Before long, the two of them had vanished without a trace. Chapter 2440. There were countless races in the vast starry sky. Among the countless races, there were 6 races that dominated the vast starry sky. The 6 races were called the Pinnacle. The pinnacle of the human race was represented by the 9 great starry sky empires. The pinnacle of the dragon race was the most sacred place among the starry sky dragon race. It was also the most powerful divine beast race among the starry sky divine beasts. The pinnacle of the rat race was the most powerful headquarter of the starry sky rat race. It was also the most powerful divine beast race among the starry sky divine beasts. The pinnacle of the underworld race, whether it was a human or a divine beast race, 95% of their primordial spirit would automatically enter the underworld race when they died. One could imagine how powerful the pinnacle of the underworld race was. However, the pinnacle of the underworld race was very low-key. It seemed that they rarely appeared for so many years. The pinnacle of the massacre race was a very powerful race. They specialized in killing to improve their strength, and killing seemed to be the race's greatest interest. The last one was the pinnacle of the mysterious race. The reason why they were called mysterious was that this race was too mysterious. They had only appeared a few times for countless years. However, no one dared to provoke the mysterious race, not even the 5 pinnacle races. No one knew when the pinnacle of the mysterious race appeared and where they came from. It was as if they appeared out of thin air. The headquarter of the pinnacle of the dragon race was a huge plain called the Dragon Plain. The entire Dragon Plain was heavily guarded. It was simply wishful thinking to step into it without being noticed. Until now, Longao still couldn't figure out how he and Yu Long could step into the Dragon Plain. However, he didn't ask. Because he knew very well that Yu Long must be very confident since he dared to ask him to come. Otherwise, it would be too troublesome for Yu Long. In an extremely secretive place. "Brother Long, this is the headquarter of the pinnacle of the dragon race. I have a way to take you in, but it's too dangerous inside the plane. If you're not careful, you'll die. Since we're here, it's up to the heavens whether we live or die." Yu Long smiled. "Brother Long, your talent is needless to say. If your physique is suitable for the dragon vein, according to my guess, you can smoothly break through to the starry sky immortal realm in a few months. Brother Yu Long, forgive me for being blunt. Since you were the dragon emperor of the pinnacle of the dragon race, why didn't you break through with the help of the dragon vein?" Longao had never figured this out. Longao couldn't figure it out. Although the dragon vein required the dragon vein, he could almost be sure that Yu Long's physique was suitable for it. He was very curious. He sighed deeply. "Brother Dragon, to tell you the truth, I was relying on the dragon vein to cultivate before Yu Bubai took advantage of me. Otherwise, at this point, Yu Long's face was filled with anger. Longao shrugged helplessly. Originally, The peak dragon race would have an additional peak universe immortal, which was a very advantageous thing for the peak dragon race. However, for the sake of seizing the position of Dragon Emperor, he did not hesitate to kill his uncle and nephew, even sacrificing a peak starry sky undying. It was sad and lamentable. This was the cruel reality. Not in the dragon race, this kind of thing would happen no matter which race it was. It was unavoidable. He did not continue to ask. "Brother Long, let's enter the dragon plane now." Longao nodded. As for who was right and who was wrong, he had no right to judge. However, no matter what, he and Yulong were friends. He would definitely stand on Yulong's side. Longao had decided that as long as there was a chance, he would not hesitate to kill Yulong's second uncle, Yu Bubai, and help Yulong take back the Dragon Emperor and the peak dragon race that belonged to him. According to Yulong, every Dragon Emperor would know a secret, which was that there was a mysterious passage in this plane that could freely enter and exit the dragon plane. This secret was only known to the Dragon Emperor, and it was passed down from generation to generation. However, due to special circumstances, the current Dragon Emperor, Yu Bubai, did not know this secret. If not for this, Yulong would definitely not tell Longao this secret. This was the biggest secret of the peak dragon race. Just think about it. If other peak dragon races knew this secret, they could step into the dragon plane without anyone noticing. At that time, the peak dragon race would be caught off guard. However, Yulong chose to believe Longao in the end. Longao saw this in his heart, but he did not say anything. Everything was in silence. At this moment, the two of them truly regarded each other as friends. This passage was very secretive. No wonder only the Dragon Emperor of the peak dragon race knew about it. If Yulong did not bring him here personally, he would not have found it even if he was beaten to death. It was too secretive. Longao and Yulong were extra careful because no one knew if Yu Bubai knew about this passage. It would be fine if he did not know, but if they were unlucky and he did know about it, then things would be really troublesome. One step, one step, one step. The passage was very long. According to Yulong, the dragon plane was countless times bigger than the first plane. Although it was not the largest plane in the vast universe, it was definitely in the top 10. Longao was not surprised at all because there were too many members of the peak dragon race. Almost all of the powerful divine dragons in the vast universe had gathered. To him, the size of the dragon plane did not have anything to do with him. He only cared about two things. First, he hoped that he could find the dragon vein smoothly and use it to break through to the starry sky immortal realm. It would be even better if he could break through the limit of the starry sky immortal realm in one go. The second thing was to help Yulong regain his position as the Dragon Emperor. Longao knew very well that he couldn't shake the position of the 9 great starry sky empire by relying on his own strength and the strength of the empire. If he could borrow the strength of the dragon clan, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. Regarding this matter, Longao did not hide it in the slightest and told Yulong the truth. If it was other people, they would definitely be furious because Longao's intention was to kill with a borrowed knife. However, Yulong was not angry at all. Instead, he fully supported Longao. Yulong knew very well that if Longao did not treat him as a true friend, he would not do this. This only meant that Longao treated him as a true friend. Since they were friends, there was no need to worry. Since they were friends, there was no need to help. Yulong knew very well that no one was willing to help him deal with his second uncle. After all, the strength of the peak dragon race was there. Going against the peak dragon race would be suicidal. Longao and Yulong did not say anything. They both knew very well that friends should help each other. After the previous incident, their relationship had improved. The secret passage was very long. If they went at full speed, they would definitely be able to leave very quickly. However, just in case, they still advanced step by step. Chapter 2441. We're almost there. Hearing Yulong's words, Longao was overjoyed. He finally let out a long sigh of relief. It seemed that his guess was right. Yu Bubai did not know the secret of this passage. At the end of the passage, It was a hidden cave. It was very small and could only fit 3 people at most. Brother Long, this place is very far from the dragon vein. If we go out like this, we'll definitely be targeted by Yububai. By then, it'll be difficult for us to leave. How could Longao not know what Yulong meant? Although the dragon race plane was extremely huge, it was still the territory of the pinnacle dragon race. If they were targeted by Yububai, the consequences would be unimaginable. Brother Yulong, if we hide our auras, I believe that even Yububai and the others won't be able to locate us. Regarding this point, Longao was still very confident. Yulong looked helpless. He did not have any confidence. If he was fully confident, he would not have waited until now. He let out a deep sigh. Brother Long, you don't know. The dragon vein is listed as a forbidden area by the pinnacle dragon race. No one can enter without permission. Unless it's the dragon emperor of each generation or the supreme elder. If we step into the forbidden area of the dragon vein, we'll definitely be discovered by Yububai. I see. Longao was not surprised at all. He had already guessed this. The dragon vein was such an important thing. It would be strange if the pinnacle dragon race did not guard it well. If that was the case, it would be very troublesome. No matter what, they had entered the pinnacle dragon race to break through their current realm with the help of the dragon vein and reach the starry sky immortal realm. According to Yulong, it was almost impossible to get close to the dragon vein. If that was the case, wouldn't it be a waste of time for them to enter the dragon race plane? At the thought of this, Longao's face became more and more serious. The most important thing now was to think of a way to deal with the dragon vein. Longao and Yulong looked at each other and saw a trace of helplessness in each other's eyes. Brother Long, there are divine dragons everywhere in the pinnacle dragon race. However, all of them can transform into humans. I can transform into a human and have dragon aura on me. Hence, no one can discover me. As for you. At this point, Yulong did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Longao wasn't worried at all. He smiled. Brother Yulong, don't worry about that. I have a second brother who is also a member of the Divine Dragon clan. Before he left, he already knew that this day would come, so I won't be discovered. That's good. Yulong finally relaxed. Yulong and Longao left the cave and swaggered into the realm. Just as Yulong had said, the entire dragon plane was filled with divine dragons in human form. Each of them had a powerful aura. No wonder they were one of the top 6 races. Longao was shocked. Initially, he had thought that the strength of the pinnacle dragon race was formidable. But, to think that the strength of the pinnacle dragon race would be this strong, if the 9 grand Starry Sky Empires did not have a half-step Starry Sky expert, they would not be a match for the Peak Dragon clan. This was what Longao was most curious about. On the way, Longao voiced his doubts. The 12 rulers of the Starry Sky did not intervene in the matters of the Starry Sky. Strictly speaking, the 9 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky were the most powerful existences in the vast Starry Sky. If that was the case, why didn't the 9 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky destroy the other pinnacle races? In that case, the pinnacle human race could truly dominate the vast Starry Sky. Yulong smiled, his face full of pride, and said with a smile, Brother Long, you don't know. Although the pinnacle dragon clan, including the pinnacle mouse clan, doesn't have any half-step rulers of the Starry Sky, the 9 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky don't dare to attack us. Why is that? Whether it's the pinnacle dragon clan or the pinnacle mouse clan, we have a large number of people. No matter how powerful the 9 half-step Starry Sky clans are, they can't compete with the 2 pinnacle divine beast clans. That's why, for countless years, the 9 half-step Starry Sky clans didn't dare to attack us. I see. Longao had heard about the pinnacle dragon clan and the pinnacle mouse clan from Yulong. The 2 divine beast clans were not only powerful, but also astonishingly large in number. If the pinnacle dragon clan and the pinnacle mouse clan launched an attack, it would be a devastating blow to the 9 Starry Sky Empires. Longao understood what Yulong meant. Let alone the 9 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky, Even the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky wouldn't dare to attack casually because the destructive power of the Pinnacle Dragon Clan and the Pinnacle Mouse Clan was too shocking. If Yulong could take back the Pinnacle Dragon Clan, then with the Pinnacle Dragon Clan, even the 9 Starry Sky Empires would be wary. However, it was just a casual thought for now. After all, killing Yu Bubai and taking back the Pinnacle Dragon Clan wasn't something that could be done casually. Whether it was Yu Bubai's strength or the Pinnacle Dragon Clan's strength, it was obvious. It was definitely not possible now. If his cultivation could break through the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, then it might be possible. Longao was almost certain that the supreme treasure of the Pinnacle Dragon Clan was not simple because Yulong's cultivation had successfully broken through the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. Even if he couldn't kill Yu Bubai, at least he wouldn't be so helpless. At the end of the day, it was all because of the supreme treasure of the Pinnacle Dragon race. If he could help brother Yulong obtain this supreme treasure, he believed that Yulong would be able to deal with Yu Bubai easily without his help. However, Longao knew that since it was the supreme treasure of the Pinnacle Dragon Clan and Yu Bubai had relied on it to dominate the world, then it wouldn't be easy for the two of them to get it. Both Longao and Yulong knew this very well. They felt helpless. Brother Long, I know what you're thinking. If I can take back the supreme treasure of the Dragon Clan, I'm confident that I can defeat Yu Bubai. I just sensed that the 4 elders of the Pinnacle Dragon Clan seemed to have broken through. Breakthrough? What did that mean? Longao knew very well that the 4 elders mentioned by Yulong were all Starry Sky Immortal Realm experts. If they continued to break through, then there was no doubt that their cultivation had broken through the Starry Sky Immortal Realm to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. If that was the case, then the Pinnacle Dragon Clan, including Yulong, would have a total of 6 Starry Sky Immortal Realm experts. What kind of concept was that? Even the number 1 Starry Sky Empire couldn't compare to this strength because even the number 1 Starry Sky Empire only had 3 Starry Sky Immortal Realm experts. If the 9 great Starry Sky Empires didn't have a half-step Starry Sky ruler, then there was no doubt that the 9 great Starry Sky Empires would have to join forces to fight against the Pinnacle Dragon Clan. No Starry Sky Empire, no Starry Sky Empire, could defeat the Pinnacle Dragon Clan. Chapter 2442. Longao didn't look too good. Yulong's face turned gloomier. Both Longao and Yulong knew what it meant for the 4 elders to break through the limit of the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. It was already hard to deal with before, and now that the 4 elders had broken through, it was even harder to deal with. He sighed deeply. Yulong said helplessly, "It seems that the heavens don't bless me. Now that the 4 elders have broken through, it's impossible for me to take back the dragon race." He wasn't Yu Bubai's opponent in a one-on-one fight. If it was 1 against 5, the result could be predicted. It was suicide. The more he thought about it, the more helpless he felt. How could Longao not know what Yulong meant? He thought about it. "Brother Yulong, you don't have to rush. You've waited for so long, why rush?" Yulong smiled helplessly. That being said, if it really happened, one would know what it felt like to wait a day like a year. Longao smiled and continued, "Brother Yulong, our top priority now is to help you find the treasure of the dragon race. As for the rest, we'll take it one step at a time. Since it's like this, we can only do so." They had waited for so many years, it didn't matter if they kept waiting. It was similar to Yulong's reaction. A few hours later, the dragon race sent out the news that the 4 elders had all reached the limit of the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. According to the rules of the dragon race, as long as they could break through the limit of the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, they could become a Supreme Elder. Their status was even slightly higher than the Dragon Emperor. The 4-peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm experts suddenly appeared in the dragon race. The entire dragon race and even the entire plane were very excited. Everyone knew what it meant to have 4-peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm experts. Longao and Yulong had been thinking of ways to enter the dragon vein without anyone noticing. If he could enter the Primal Chaos Palace and casually move the Primal Chaos Palace, then he and Wandering Dragon would be able to silently enter the dragon vein. The Chaos Palace was the key. However, Longao was helpless against the Chaos Palace. This was because even now, Longao was still unable to truly control the Primal Chaos Palace. He could only move the Primal Chaos Palace within a short distance. It was almost impossible for him to move the Primal Chaos Palace on a large scale. Longao did not tell Yulong about the Primal Chaos Palace. Other than his closest relatives, no one else knew about it. Other than the Primal Chaos Palace, Longao could not think of a better way to enter the Dragon Vein without anyone noticing. This time, now that he had finally encountered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, if he were to carelessly miss it, who knew how long he would have to wait before he could break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. The two of them found a place with a lot of people and walked around. "Brother Long, have you thought of a way?" Yulong couldn't do anything because Yu Bubai was too familiar with his aura. He believed that Yu Bubai would be able to lock onto him as soon as he got close to the Forbidden Dragon Vein, let alone stepping into it. Yulong was very clear about this point. Not only Yulong, but even Longao knew about this. He said helplessly, "According to what you said, the four elders have all broken through to the Peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm. Including Yu Bubai, there are 5 Peak Starry Sky Immortal Realm experts watching the Dragon Vein. If we go to the Forbidden Dragon Vein now, we'll be asking for trouble. Then what should we do now?" This time, they stepped into the Dragon Clan's dimension in order to enter the Forbidden Dragon Vein. If they couldn't do that, then this trip would have been in vain. He shrugged helplessly. "Wait and see. There's only one way now, and that's to wait." Wait. Yulong knew what Longao meant. Going against Yu Bubai's group of 5 head-on would be suicide. However, this was not the way to go. The longer they delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. Yu Bubai couldn't lock onto their location now, but that didn't mean he wouldn't be able to lock onto them forever. It was better to be safe than sorry. If they were unlucky one day and were locked onto by Yu Bubai, they would be doomed. How could Longao not know what Yulong was thinking? However, there was nothing he could do about it. At this moment, Yulong thought for a while and said, "Brother Long, you and I are close friends. As long as your body is suitable to enter the Forbidden Dragon Vein, I'll take the risk." What did he mean? Just as Longao was very curious and was about to speak, Yulong didn't give Longao a chance to speak. He continued, "Brother Long, listen to me. If I suddenly appear outside the Dragon Clan's dimension, think about what will happen." Longao was not a fool. In just an instant, he already understood what Yulong meant. Yulong's intention was very simple. He wanted to use himself as bait to lure Yu Bubai and the other 4. He could take advantage of this opportunity to enter the Forbidden Dragon Vein. Longao was very confident in this matter and he could do it. But could he really do it? Longao knew what Yulong meant. If he wasn't careful, Yulong would be surrounded by the 5 of them. By then, his life would be in danger. If it were someone else, he wouldn't mind. However, he really treated Yulong as a friend. He believed that Yulong treated him with sincerity. Otherwise, Yulong wouldn't do this. After all, this was a place with a high chance of survival. The more this was the case, the more Longao wouldn't agree. Shaking his head, Longao said firmly, "Brother Yulong, I know what you mean. However, I can tell you clearly that unless you don't treat me as a friend, I won't agree to this." Seeing that Yulong was about to say something, Longao waved his hand and said, "If you want to leave, we'll leave together. If you want to stay, we'll stay together. I won't enter the Forbidden Dragon Vein and let you take the risk. If that's the case, I'd rather not enter the Forbidden Dragon Vein than let you die." This was a joke. If it had been before, Yulong might have been able to resist Yu Bubai alone, even if Yu Bubai had an ultimate treasure from the Dragon Clan. However, the situation was completely different now. It wasn't just Yu Bubai. The current Pinnacle Dragon Clan had 4 more Pinnacle Starry Sky Immortals. If 5 Pinnacle Starry Sky Immortals teamed up, Yulong definitely wouldn't be their match. Because of this, Longao decided that no matter what happened, he couldn't let Yulong take this risk. Chapter 2443. Yulong didn't say anything else. As for the flash of light in Yulong's eyes, Longao didn't notice it. At the top of a huge mountain stood a huge palace. It was extremely majestic and vast. At a glance, the entire palace was a little shocking. Inside the huge palace, other than the Dragon Emperor, who was also Yulong's second uncle, Yu Bubai, there were 4 other people. They were the first Supreme Elder, second Supreme Elder, third Supreme Elder, and fourth Supreme Elder. The 4 Supreme Elders had broken through from the Starry Sky Immortal Realm to the peak of the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. The status of Supreme Elder and Supreme Elder were 2 completely different concepts. Dragon Emperor, may I know why you've summoned the 4 of us? The 4 Supreme Elders were very curious because they had just broken through to the peak of the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. It was the best time for seclusion. The Dragon Emperor wouldn't summon them at this time unless there was something serious. That was indeed the case. The 4 couldn't figure out what would make the Dragon Emperor like this. Yu Bubai's face was very gloomy as he said, "Not long ago, for some reason, I suddenly sensed a trace of Yulong's aura. I didn't kill him back then, and now there are endless troubles." The more he thought about it, the more regretful and angry he felt. Back then, Yu Bubai had the chance to kill Yulong and eliminate him completely. However, due to some special circumstances, he had let Yulong go. In fact, Yu Bubai didn't care about Yulong at all. Yulong was just a Starry Sky Immortal Realm back then. Even if he was given countless years, it was impossible for him to reach the peak of the Starry Sky Immortal Realm. However, there was no absolute in everything. So that was it. The 4 Supreme Elders instantly understood the Dragon Emperor's meaning. If it was something else, the Dragon Emperor wouldn't bother them casually. But this was the most important thing in the Dragon Emperor's heart. Cut the weeds and dig up the roots to prevent future troubles. Dragon Emperor, are you sure? Dragon Emperor, Yulong was just a Starry Sky Immortal Realm when he left. Even if he's talented, he can only reach the Starry Sky Immortal Realm at most. With such strength, he's seeking death by entering the plane without permission. That's not all. Dragon Emperor, have you ever thought that as long as Yulong enters the Dragon Clan's plane, we'll definitely know? How could the 4 Supreme Elders not be aware of this? In the eyes of the 4 Supreme Elders, the Dragon Emperor was a little too afraid of Yulong. In fact, there was no need for him to be so afraid. How could Yu Bubai not know what the 4 of them meant? However, for some reason, he felt that something was amiss. As for what was wrong, he couldn't put his finger on it. What's wrong with him? His expression was extremely gloomy and ugly. After thinking for a moment, Yu Bubai said, "I'm just afraid that the Dragon Plane has some sort of secret tunnel. If that's the case, Yulong can come in without anyone knowing." The 4 of them already knew what the Dragon Emperor meant. Yulong's talent is extraordinary. If he were to cultivate outside, I would naturally not be afraid. However, the situation now is different. If Yulong can really enter the plane without anyone knowing and enter the forbidden area of the Dragon Vein, then, at this point, Yu Bubai didn't continue. However, the 4 Supreme Elders couldn't possibly not understand what he meant. If Yu Bubai could use the Dragon Vein to rapidly increase his strength, then Yulong could do the same. He might even be faster. It would be a lie to say that they weren't afraid. Dragon Emperor, you're worrying too much. First Supreme Elder smiled and continued, "Dragon Emperor, the 4 of us know what you're worried about. Even if Yulong can enter the plane without anyone knowing, it's impossible for him to enter the forbidden area of the Dragon Vein. Why is that?" He couldn't figure it out. Yu Bubai didn't know what First Supreme Elder meant. If it was someone else, it definitely wouldn't work. Only Yulong. No matter what, Yulong was his elder brother's only son. Moreover, he had the purest bloodline. His bloodline was even more superior than his. Yulong had a higher chance of entering the forbidden area of the Dragon Vein and using the Dragon Vein. Therefore, how could Yu Bubai not be worried about this? Second Supreme Elder smiled and continued, "Dragon Emperor, our elder brother's intention is simple. The forbidden area of the Dragon Vein has a forbidden power that the 5 of us set up. If anyone, including Yulong, can enter, we'll definitely be the first to know. The Dragon Emperor wanted to say something but could only sigh in the end. Although he knew this was the case, he was still worried. At the end of the day, Yu Bubai was still very afraid of Yulong. At this moment, Fourth Supreme Elder stood up and said, "Dragon Emperor, instead of worrying about Yulong entering the forbidden area of the Dragon Vein, why don't you hope that he can enter the forbidden area of the Dragon Vein?" "What do you mean?" Hearing the Fourth Supreme Elder's words, the Dragon Emperor was very curious. He didn't know what the other party meant. He hoped that Yulong wouldn't enter the forbidden land of the Dragon Vein, so how could he still hope for Yulong to enter? If he didn't trust the Fourth Supreme Elder, he would even suspect that the Fourth Supreme Elder had betrayed him. "Fourth Supreme Elder, you'd better tell the Dragon Emperor quickly so that he won't continue to worry." Fourth Supreme Elder smiled and said, "Dragon Emperor, if Yulong really dares to enter the forbidden area of the Dragon Vein, we can use this opportunity to eliminate him and eliminate him completely." Yu Bubai wasn't a fool. He instantly understood what the four Supreme Elders meant. He was a little too anxious just now. Now that he thought about it, it was indeed so. Why should he be worried about Yulong entering the forbidden area of the Dragon Vein? He should be hoping that Yulong would enter the forbidden area of the Dragon Vein so that he could better lock onto Yulong's location and kill him. If Yulong didn't enter the Dragon Clan's realm and the forbidden area of the Dragon Vein, it would be difficult to lock onto Yulong's location. Thinking of this, Yu Bubai suddenly laughed out loud and said, "The four of you are very thoughtful. I'm overthinking. Dragon Emperor, according to my guess, Yulong wouldn't have dared to casually step into this realm without full confidence. Otherwise, why wouldn't he have come earlier after so many years? Why would he wait until now? Elder brother is right. The four of us still have to stabilize our realms. We'll take our leave first. We won't see you out." Seeing the four Supreme Elders stand up and leave, Yu Bubai suddenly laughed and muttered to himself, "Looks like the four of them are still on my side. I'm relieved. If they were on Yulong's side, humph, no matter how reluctant I am, I'll kill them as soon as possible to avoid unnecessary trouble." The four Supreme Elders couldn't hear Yu Bubai's muttering. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.